Hello and welcome to episode 67 of Randomer Nintendo. I actually knew it was 67 because I actually checked the episode before
Okay, dude.
we started.
Good. Oh, look at this guy over here.
I know,
You
look at me
forget
be
to look at the
proactive.
title just once.
Wow. Once out 67 times, and he's like, look at me. Give me a gold star and brownie points and a badge. Yeah.
I don't know, I'll take what I can get. All right. So as you've already heard them both, there's Kevin
Yeah, there he is. Here I am.
and the other one is Jason.
And here, he/I, me. Yeah, here I am.
Rocking you like a hurricane.
And
Yep, exactly
yeah, I think
where I
we
was
got
going
a-
with that. Exactly. I was like, you know what song lyric I should dig into? Yeah, Hurricane. Yep.
Based on the agenda, I think we got an interesting one. Some movies, some concerts. Which, well, Jason feels like he goes to a concert like every other month, but
To be fair, I've been to
What's
2 in
exciting
the last
nonetheless?
3 weeks, so quite literally, yes.
geez,
Yeah.
well, I mean, I guess before we get into the big meat and potatoes, I mean, I guess how have you guys been since? I guess the last time we recorded, which was, I guess,
2 weeks ago?
when was that? Late June,
Yeah.
like right at the end of June.
Yep. I get to hear your lovely voices in better sound quality because I took advantage of Prime Day and I upgraded my AirPods to AirPod 4s. And I had no idea that they'd be that different in shape, in sound, in noise cancellation, in the way it can map your ear to personalize your audio using like the Face ID camera. It was pretty cool. It was a big upgrade. And they were like 30% off when I got them. So that's been my big exciting. You guys sound crisp and clear and more like your real selves.
Didn't swing for the
So
pros,
you
huh?
went from the longer ones.
I did not get the pros because, to answer your question, Kevin, I did not get the pros because I don't like the rubber tip thing after the plastic. Like, I don't like that feeling. But surprisingly, I did get the noise canceling, the active noise canceling, which I think is what you were starting to say, Angel. And it works surprisingly well without the little rubber nubs. Like, obviously, it's not a perfect seal, so some noise gets
No,
through.
I was gonna say you went from the ones with the longer stems to the shorter
yes,
stems, or did
yes.
you always have?
I went from the 2s to the 4s. So the ones that look just
No,
like
yeah,
normal AirPods without
I always
the
knew you
cord
didn't like the rubber. Yeah.
yeah, okay. But yeah, no, these are I was walking down like a busy street with them and I turned on noise cancellation. I was very pleasantly surprised at how much of the car noise it actually removed. And it is quite impressive. So for 100, what'd I pay? 120 when they're normally 180 or something like that is a pretty good deal. Very happy with them. And also that means a little inside baseball. So when we've been recording the last few episodes, or maybe the last 6 months, I'd have to have one AirPod in. The mic I use for everyone listening out there is a real mic, but I use the AirPods to talk to you guys. And I'd have to rotate the AirPods back and forth like every 20 or 30 minutes to make sure neither of them loses a charge. And there have been times where one of them dies or they both die and my phone goes into, because I talk to you guys through Discord on my phone, goes into speaker. And I have to either edit it out after the fact or forget about it. And there's probably one episode where there's a little reverb for you guys, but now I don't have to do that because these things last like hours. So a life of luxury over here in my world.
Damn, things
Nice.
are turning up, Jason.
Things are
What about
turning
you,
up,
Kevin?
Jason.
Nothing new for me except today, or I guess tomorrow, will mark a full month of me having switched from iOS to Android.
And
So-
disrupting and destroying our random Nintendo group chat.
I don't
Mean
know.
bubbles.
That's a little okay. Let me tell you, I've been treated like a third world citizen by my peers, my friends, my family. Now that the bubbles are green, because I decided to get a Pixel 9 Pro XL about a month ago, right before my trip to Europe.
Well, first and foremost, how do you
And
like the
rightfully so.
phone? Before
But,
we get
damn it.
into your betrayal, how do you like the phone as a phone? Like, how's the
The-
experience for you?
So far, the experience, like going from iOS to Android, like maybe back in the day, could be considered daunting. It's honestly, the experience is pretty one-to-one. Obviously, Android has its quirks that iOS doesn't, and vice versa. But
Sure,
overall, like transferring from an iPhone to an Android phone is pretty like easy. I was able to get pretty much all my contacts, everything that I wanted, which honestly was just my contacts because everything else is stored already on iCloud anyways. So no reason for like all my photos or anything to transfer over. There are some nuances about this phone that I absolutely detest. And I was showing Angel's brother and a couple of our friends when we hung out at Angel's place that going from full screen to just like the regular we'll say browser is such a pain in the ass compared to iOS. Like on iOS, you just like, if you're in full screen mode, you just swipe from pretty much anywhere on the screen to exit full screen mode. No, here on iOS, you have to like swipe either from the top or the bottom, and then like your little notification bar will come up, and then you have to swipe either left or right to exit. And then sometimes the video will pause, sometimes the videos won't pause. So that's the biggest thing for sure that I can't say like, oh, iOS just does full screen video better. The other thing is Android Auto is so bad compared to CarPlay. so bad. I mean, I was a Apple Maps person. I was never a Google Maps person on iOS. But like Google Maps does the job just as well as Apple Maps does, right? Navigation is pretty much the same. Where it sucks is, and I'm also a Spotify person, right? Where it sucks is my car will not let me fast forward or rewind songs or podcasts when I like use the buttons that are on my steering wheel for whatever reason. On top of that, there's like another quirk about it, like media. Like let's say with CarPlay, you're not playing anything, right? Like you're not playing a YouTube video or anything like that. You wouldn't have that side of CarPlay showing any media, right? For whatever reason, Android Auto just like forces you to start an app, whether it be Spotify or YouTube Music. And on top of that, like I pay for YouTube Premium, so I have like my playlist of course, anime openings, right?
Naturally.
Yes. I can't forward or go back on videos because Android Auto will not do the thing that iOS does, where like if you're playing a YouTube video, it is technically you're now playing. Does that make sense?
Right.
It is the thing that's playing. No, for whatever reason, and I looked into this because on the Android Auto subreddit, but it's because obviously Google doesn't want you using YouTube while you're driving. But at the same time, like, I don't know, Google maybe do something where at least the audio is overriding everything else so that I can control what I want to hear on YouTube, right? Like using the buttons on my steering wheel. Aside from that, everything is pretty much the same. The reason I went with Google is because I hate Samsung skins. Like, for those that don't know, you have an Android phone, but you aren't necessarily just running Android. You're running whatever your phone's manufacturer skin is on top of that. So I think Samsung skin, it's called like One UI or something like that.
Yeah, it's One UI.
One
Not
Plus,
to be confused with the OnePlus phone, which is a different company.
Yeah, OnePlus. I think theirs is called Oxygen UI or Oxygen OS, something like that. But this being, Google's the developer of Android, it's what's considered stock Android, so I don't have any bloatware. Obviously, yeah, I have Google's apps on here, but that's not any different from having Apple's apps on an iOS device. But aside from that, the face recognition on this phone is terrible, so I just went for the in-screen thumbprint detector, which is something that I do miss on iOS devices.
So is there anything you like better? You've gone through kind of the pitfalls. What about is there anything on Android that's like worth the green bubbles?
So what I will say is there is being able to customize a lot of what I want is great. The only issue is I sort of got really used to how simple iOS was. Like, I appreciate some of the little quirks here and there, but like one thing, right? I have Philips Hue lights in my room, and being able to bring down the control center with one swipe and just pressing what do you want to call it, a quick link or a quick widget on the control center,
little light button.
Yeah. To turn them on was before I wake, like once I wake up, before I go to sleep. Here it takes 2 swipes for me to do that, and it's not even like 2 swipes to do it. It's like I have to swipe down again to show Google Home, and then I click on Google Home and it takes me to another page, and then finally I can turn off my lights. I do appreciate that there is more control over what you can do, but there's just something about the simplicity about the iPhone that I do miss. As far as anything that it does better, I can't really say it does anything better than iOS. As far as my case, I was never a power iOS user, and I'm sure as hell not a power Android user. I'm sure that there's tons of things that I can do way faster and way better on Android than I could on iOS, right? Because iOS is still this sort of walled garden compared to Android.
Yeah. So in theory, you could get more creative with customization on Android and come up with all sorts of wacky workarounds to things that iOS just won't let you do. Yeah,
exactly. But I was never, even when I used to buy Android devices, because I actually, back when phones were subsidized on phone plans, right? Like, hey, get an iPhone, it's $1,000, but you lock into a 2-year contract with Sprint, with AT&T, whoever you have. Hey, it's only going to be $200. I would switch every 2 years. So I would go Android, iOS, and I think with the iPhone 6S Plus, I just stuck with iPhone ever since, all the way
until now.
Until now, yeah. Because because what I've seen from the iPhone 17 just is really boring, and I just needed a change of pace.
Funny enough, it actually looks more like a Pixel. Because they're doing if the rumors are true, they're doing a glass bar across the whole back like the Pixel does. So
I thought it was like to the side.
The cameras are, but there's a bar all the way. Is the rumor?
Interesting.
Rumor.
Yeah. Aside from that, I mean, this is taking better pictures than my iPhone did, but I'm also not like a huge picture guy. There's nothing that I can really say that I enjoy better on this phone than on an iPhone. Right now, it's just getting the job done, just like a iPhone 16 or 17 would do for me. I'm just waiting for, one of these manufacturers to come up with something crazy, and by something crazy, I mean something that China has been doing for like 10 years now. Because
like a trifold, a quadruple fold phone.
Exactly. So
yeah,
it's only a matter of time.
Yeah. I do like the concept of like the flip phones.
Wacky one you get.
I do like the concept of like the flip phones that are also full smartphones, but I don't like the crease. So if they can one day make the crease truly go away, not like you can barely see it, but like somehow not be there, which is probably impossible. I feel like I'm never gonna do the flip phone thing. But conceptually, those like Z Flip and those sorts of things are pretty fun as a concept.
Yeah,
so that's all that's keeping you on Apple? Wow.
What? No. Apple will eventually do it too, and they also won't get the crease out fully. I'm saying whoever does it, like. I like the concept of the flip phone that's a smartphone. If Apple did one, I'd be into it until the crease. That's what I mean. Yeah, no, I'm not leaving iOS. No, I'm too walled in. I mean, my home is an Apple home. Like, I have an Apple home setup. I have an Apple home doorbell. I have an Apple HomePod Mini. I have the Apple Watch. I have the AirPods. I'm locked in. I have an Apple TV. It's all
hypothetically, say hypothetically the next phone or the one after... Like, they just make them all foldable phones going forward, but, they're still, we'll say, like, a decade away from getting rid of the crease.
Well, I'll have to bite the bullet.
Does that mean you're just going to go a decade without...
No, it means I'll bite the bullet. It means I'll bite the bullet. It just means if it's an option, I'm not going to seek it out until that crease goes away. But if it's mandatory, I'll do.
Until you're
the same way that they made all of us go through the butterfly keyboard with the MacBooks for a number of years. I was like, well, I need a new MacBook, and this is what the keyboard is, so here we go. And sure enough, my O key broke, and I couldn't write Mario. which is troublesome when you run a Nintendo podcast to be able to write Mario or Nintendo. So I had to get that fixed. So I'll just roll with the punches.
Well, truly, truly dark times for sure.
Truly. The darkest of times. Yes.
Yeah. Well,
What about you, Angel? You haven't what so I upgraded my headphones. Kevin upgraded a phone. Did you upgrade a computer, car, television, anything at a higher caliber as we continue this trajectory?
no new devices that I could think of off the top of my head. No,
Combo
it's
breaker.
been just the same old tech. I swapped the sticker off the back of my phone. That's probably the biggest change because I think I've had the sticker on the back for at least a year. It's probably been a little more. It is now a Rathalos of Monster Hunter fame.
Sticking with Capcom.
But
Wasn't it? Oh, no. It was a dude. What was it before? Was it a Pokemon before?
yeah, it was a Dodrio.
That's right.
or
But before
Dodrio,
that, it was
yeah.
Phoenix. So you went Capcom, Nintendo, Capcom. So you're doing the iPhone, Android switcheroo that Kevin used to do.
No, before that it was a Godzilla, Jason.
Didn't you have Phoenix right on there at some point? Wow, I thought it was your friend.
No,
I know
I've never
nothing.
had Phoenix on my phone.
Oh, that's
I
your
had-
iPad?
I had Phoenix on an iMac, and
Okay.
then I had Phoenix on a and then I had a Maya on a laptop, and Apollo Justice on my iPad. So maybe you got confused.
That's what I was
somewhere along the
thinking.
line?
Listen, I'm just
Because they're all
I
they
know
are
your
around, just not on my
fandoms,
phone.
and I knew you had one of them on one device at one time, and I'm your friend. I swear. Yeah. Okay.
Well, guess let's jump into the agenda here. Let's see what looks interesting to me. Actually, you know what? Just because at least for me they don't happen often, let's jump to the concerts. I'm actually really curious about the Backstreet Boys concert you went to, just
Yes,
based on the
nice.
video you showed me.
Yes.
I still have not been to the
Sphere.
Sphere or whatever
My
it's
second
called.
time. But I want to hear about your concert that was happening simultaneously. We were literally texting each other from our concerts of pictures of waiting for the show to start. We're like, do you have an opener?
Aw.
No. Do you have an opener? No. And the funny thing is, both concerts, you saw Blackpink at SoFi Stadium here in LA. I saw Backstreet Boys at the Sphere. Both concerts, the opener was just music videos of those respective acts playing on screens. But what are the odds that was happening simultaneously? We were both saying like, oh, I guess we're just watching their music videos. But it only would have
Well,
been
to be
weirder if they
fair-
were playing each other's music videos.
That'd be next level.
Yeah.
But to be fair, though, this is what we were expecting because I went to Blackpink's concert last year as well, and they did the exact same thing. They are also one of the very few, if not the only concert I've been to, or at least a performer group that I've seen that actually starts on time, or at the very least, like so close to when they say they're going to start that, it's just a nice change of pace.
Yeah.
I know it's par for the course. I know that's just
We
a
had
thing,
that
but, like,
conversation a
that
couple years
doesn't-
ago on the podcast. But yeah, no, that
Yeah,
is nice
but
they
that-
actually did.
But that doesn't make me hate that fact any less, especially when, an act can't get their show going, at the time it says.
Right.
But, it is what it is. I've enjoyed all those concerts. I enjoyed this one. Not quite as much as last year. Like, overall, it was still great. It was a lot of fun to go
Where
with
did
my
you see them
friends.
last year?
Wasn't it Dodger?
At the Dodger Stadium.
Dodger Stadium. Got it.
Yeah, so, like, seating-wise and view, this was much better. Just because we were a lot closer as well. Like, we were sitting basically on the balcony. So, like, there was, like, basically no one in front of us. It was just, like, we were, like, overlooking from, like, the second floor, I think. Second or third.
It's like the 200.
So it was really nice. Yeah, actually, I think it was 300.
Yeah,
But it was
okay.
nice. Like,
Yeah.
we weren't so far back that everyone looked tiny. We could see pretty much everything. And, the lasers were actually, I don't know, it's been a while since I've been, like, did, like, an audible, like, whoa, like, just with a laser show. And, and also, I'm not used to seeing too many concerts with, like, pyrotechnics. Usually it's just the band plays.
Mm-hmm.
Because, most of the concerts I've been to have just been, like, a standing up affair. Like, it's also not every day. Like, I go to one, like, Iron Maiden or this one where you actually have seating.
Right.
Which also felt
a standing up
very
affair
nice.
itself sounds like the name of a band. Like, oh yeah, I went to see a standing up affair. Like,
And there was, like, a pit section that, did stand up. And because the stage kind of wraps around the pit, like, the performers are walking around there. and they basically get like a 360 view, but definitely not to the same level that you got one. But overall, like, it was great. They played the hits I expected. The only thing that I was pleasantly surprised about, I did learn about this like a little bit before the concert, but I don't follow the individual careers of the individual Blackpink singers. So I wasn't really aware that the APT song that's been like kind of blowing up everywhere, just appearing in every single TikTok, was from Rosé, one of the singers. So when they sang it, I was like, "Oh, it's this song," and it's catchy. Like I enjoyed it. I think I didn't even really know it was like a collab. I think like Jason was like, "Oh, was Bruno Mars there?" Like,
Oh yeah,
after I
because
messaged him.
he's the other half of the song. Yeah.
Yeah, and apparently he did pop up on the next day of the concert, but that's fine. Like when I heard it in full, I like that it was just a version that Rose sang the whole way through. But that's his personal preference. I don't dislike Bruno Mars; he's fine, but I'd rather just have Rose sing it all the way. The only other thing of note, and this is just like kind of the biggest sticking point, was I guess the people we sat around, like in the last concert, and I'm sure both of you can relate to this or I've seen this, but like there is definitely like a nice vibe when you're surrounded by like a lot of people that you can feel are just like really big fans. Everyone just feels very like respectful of each other's space. Everyone's just so friendly, and the genuine energy just kind of like feeds into you, and that's how it was last year. This year, unfortunately, we kind of were flanked. We were sitting on the edge on the aisle, which was also kind of convenient. We were like kind of in the center, and I was literally like the aisle seat. Um, but we were flanked on the left and directly behind us by basically dude bros. They were just like hooting and hollering like the whole time, and half the time I couldn't even really whenever they were singing, the speakers were so loud that you couldn't really hear them. But whenever they had like in between segments when they were talking or when they were doing like a little performance that was just like on acoustic and I mean just on guitar and like no crazy setup, it was just them sitting down singing. They were like just yelling really loud and it was kind of hard to like and just fully enjoy it. And then also like the people to the left of us, besides just being kind of like rambunctious, they kept standing up from their seat like every 5-6 minutes to go get more drinks or go to the restroom or something. So just imagine like throughout pretty much the whole concert, just constantly having to like stand up or like lean back because people just kept going back and forth, back and forth. And halfway through, they started going like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, like please forgive me." But when they were doing that, they weren't moving; they were just like standing still. So I'm just like we were just kind of gesture like, "Come on, just go." Like,
That sounds like
that.
not
It,
great
it also sounded kind
experience.
of it also sounded kind of hollow. Like you could tell like they were just like they knew what they were doing. They weren't really there for the concert. They were just kind of just partying. It felt like they were like they kind of reminded me of I think that maybe they were or maybe it was like a college crowd or something because like they were one of my friends who was sitting like right next to them. I guess they were trying to talk to him at some point and they kept offering him water, which was not water, it was just like
Vodka.
just like a cup full of vodka.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they invited like, "Oh, you should come to the after party after and whatnot." And I guess like they had their girlfriend there with them that at some point just wanted to make herself like not unassociated with them and
I'm guessing
like
she
left
was
kind of
there
like
for the
separately.
show and they tagged along.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
she did not seem happy and it was kind of easy to identify them as well. Like anytime like anyone would walk by, because they were all wearing a K-pop Demon Slayer shirt, like the same one. Like they all coordinated to wear the same shirt. So there were like maybe 5 of them, or 4 or 5 of them that had it. And the girlfriend.
Right.
And yeah, so not like when I think of that movie, I think of these guys. Thankfully, I haven't fully watched it yet. I started watching it. And so far I've enjoyed it. It's made by the Sony Animation, which has been killing it with their Spider-Verse stuff. And I forgot what else. Mitchell vs. Machines was fun. But yeah, so, probably until I finish watching that movie, it'll just remind me of those guys. But yeah, overall, it was an experience for sure. But, it was fun. Don't regret it. there was obviously that, but it didn't ruin it. It was just like oh yeah,
Annoyance to the side. Yeah. I
Yeah,
feel like I've experienced that
but yeah.
more in the pit of places. Like if I've been in a standing room, like a smaller venue, like Hollywood Palladium or something, where it's standing room only. Sometimes, like you get there early, you get a good spot, you're hanging out, you kind of have scoped out who's around you, and okay, there won't be anyone blocking my view. There's no one taller than me. I'm already pretty tall, but no one taller than me. And then like 5 minutes before showtime, 3 half-drunk bros come stumbling through and like push their way and just end up in a wall in formation in front of you, and you suddenly can't see. Like that's happened to me before. So I can relate to some extent. You have to kind of like bob and weave around them or like peer between them. And yeah, I feel bad for folks who, are shorter. I have the advantage of being somewhat taller. But yeah, I imagine the floor is not fun in those situations.
Yeah, thankfully, like whenever I do have a concert, I tend to go really, really early.
Yeah, same.
So we do have the floor. We usually tend to be like pretty much really, really close to the front, if not at the front. So it's usually not an issue, thankfully.
I usually, this is going to be an insight into my psyche. I usually camp out in a spot that has a good view of the whole, of whatever. Like if I look and go, this would be a cool photo, and I'll stand in that spot. So sometimes it'll be the very front, sometimes it'll be more the middle. Like somewhere where I'm like, I bet I can get a good photo from this spot. I'll stay here. Because obviously I can move around during the show a little or whatever, but if I want to like have a photo, like a good photo, I'll like camp out at that spot for it, which is a bit, yeah.
Live by the gram, die by the gram.
It's not, it's not even necessarily the gram. It's like taking and editing photos. Yeah, I don't know. In general, but yeah.
Yeah.
And it was photogenic, the Sphere.
Oh yeah. So how was the Backstreet Boys?
They were back. All right. Yeah. No, it was good.
Wow.
So
were they on the street?
They were. They had to take a street to get into the Sphere. So yes, but the whole thing was actually sci-fi themed. But yeah, so we went. It was Rachel's sister's birthday, so like the whole family, the whole like Rachel side of the family, we all went. She's a big They all like Backstreet Boys. They all grew up with it, but she in particular, her sister's a big fan. So
apparently, my sister was there too. It's funny.
What?
That apparently my sister was at that concert.
No, actually, she wasn't. So detour.
Really?
So I texted her. Elvis gave me a heads up because I was talking to Elvis and he, Angel's brother, for those who don't know, and he mentioned that Esther was in Vegas when we were. So I texted Esther, and he's like, "I think she's going to that concert." So I'm like, "Oh, hey, I heard you're going to the concert." She's like, "My friends are, but I am not." I'm like, "Oh, okay." But her friends were at the exact same show
hilarious.
that we were. So if your sister went, we could have actually met up
I think
there.
when I first heard the info, it was like oh yeah, because I'm like, oh, where are they going? Like, oh, they're going to Vegas. So like, yeah, they're going to the concert. But I guess it's true in the they part.
They underline that they a few times over. Yeah, so she wasn't there. But but we went with a different sister, Rachel's sister. So that's how I ended up there in the first place. But yeah, it was my second time at the Sphere, and it was really. Well, the venue I talked about with you too, I think, here on the podcast years ago, but the venue is so cool. Like, there's nothing quite like it. It's, for those who aren't familiar, it's like an 18,000 person dome, except about 85% of the space you see is pixels, like LED pixels, and they can make huge displays, and it's all screen essentially, except for a little back part at the very back of the seating that's kind of like an iPhone notch, which is where a lot of the electronics live for the Sphere, but everything else is just like a screen. And it's so big and bright that they can make it look like daylight in there. They can make it look like whatever they want. You could be in space. It could be like pitch black. They can make it look really bright. They have like wind effects, although minor. They can rumble the seats. They can pump in smells, although they don't often. But yeah, it's just like, it's a very cool experience.
Jeez, that's intense. Do they have just like shows running on the daily, like
yeah, so they do
crazy
a thing,
Shrek 4D style kind of experience?
Kind
or
of.
Concerts?
They just roll. Well, they tend to do residencies because it takes a lot of effort to put in the visuals and the effects for it. Like, you have to render. You can't just take like Blackpink couldn't just take what's on their flat screen behind them on the stage, like those visuals, and blow them up to fit the Sphere. Like, you could, but it looked very pixelated and it wouldn't like use the space well. So it takes like months of prep to be able to use the space correctly. And as a result, the only type of concerts there are like residencies. So U2 did one for a while. The Eagles did one for a while. A DJ, I'm forgetting the name, Amira, something like that, did one for a while. And now Backstreet Boys are doing one for like 2 months or something, or 8 weeks, 6 weeks, or something like that. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so that's how they're able to like leverage all the effects and stuff to varying degrees. But when there's not concerts, they had a film. I forgot who filmed it. Maybe the dude that did Black Swan. I want to say Darren Aronofsky, but I'm not
Darren
sure.
Aronofsky, yeah, it was him.
I'm not sure if that's who did the Sphere movie though. But let me see.
Yeah, it was him.
Oh, okay, cool. Wow, look at me. So yeah, they air that during the day. They have something called the Sphere. I keep saying Sphere weird, but they have something called the Sphere Experience. And basically during the day, you can go in the lobby. They kind of put these like weird animatronic robot things you can talk and interact with. And they make it like this. You're going into the future and you talk to them, then you go in and you watch this movie that was shot for the curved giant screen. It's basically like a orbed out IMAX in that regard, and like you travel planet Earth in that video. I haven't done it, but that's apparently how it works. But they also just along with that, on days they don't have concerts, have now introduced a Sphere optimized version of the Wizard of Oz. I don't really know what makes it like Sphere friendly and makes it cool, but yeah, it's a thing they've just started doing. So that's what they do when there aren't concerts. But then they have these like residencies, Backstreet being one of them. And what was really cool, honestly, about the Backstreet Boys show, well, one, they're quite good performers. Two, you know more songs of theirs than you may realize. And three, the Backstreet Boys clearly, their team has looked at what has worked and what hasn't worked and how to best optimize the Sphere over the last 2 years, the year and a half it's existed. And like in terms of leveraging the space and the technology and everything, they used it, I feel like a lot better. Not that U2 used it poorly, but like you could see ways they improved quite literally on some of the stuff U2 did, like some very similar imagery that they did just better, like stuff of like you're like kind of going to like a forest or like things like that. And they just kind of made it feel like the Sphere was like U2 half the show used the Sphere to do just like cool colors or bursts of things shooting past you. And then some of them were just like static images that filled the whole thing. And then sometimes they didn't even use the whole thing and they just like used some space behind them to put a rectangle that showed you what they were doing on the stage. Backstreet did way more animations, did way more movement, did way less of just like, here we are on a bigger screen behind us, and actually like really used the venue. And then they threaded it all together with basically you're on a spaceship going on a journey, which was actually a really fun idea. So the album they were celebrating, it's the 25th anniversary of, I guess, their third album, Millennium. So that's already very like sci-fi themed and like spacey. So the show starts with literally a launch sequence. So you walk into the venue and you sit down and there's like a rocket thruster just sitting there, quote unquote, sitting there on the screen. And they have like 3D depth effects, kind of like shadows and stuff. So it really looks like you're in a completely round space with a rocket thing in the middle, even though, you know, half of that's a screen, a curved screen, but a screen. And then about 5 minutes before 9 minutes before showtime, they start a countdown. Then 1 minute before showtime, all these alerts start going off and everything starts flashing red. And then the rocket like tilts and then the ceiling like opens, quote unquote, and you see a starry sky above you. And then the rocket shoots into starry sky and you basically go into like warp drive, like think like Star Wars, Star Trek, like a hyperspace warp drive. And they like launch you into space. And then you basically planet hop. Like for a while, you're following the spaceship and it like beams down the Backstreet Boys to the stage. And then there they really are. They like shoot out from the bottom of the stage, but they make it look like they're like beaming down kind of. And then you kind of just planet hop, and each planet has a different vibe and a different sci-fi aesthetic. And some, like I was saying, like some's kind of like, you know, you're going to like a garden, it's very nature. Some's like there's a giant ocean wave. A couple were video gamey, which was really cool. There's one where they have blocks falling with like dancers in them, but the blocks are basically giant Tetris blocks, like different Tetris shapes, and they're slowly stacking up the height of the venue and then beyond, because they can make, you know, the height look even higher than it really is with depth, with like just, you know, pseudo 3D depth effects. There's another one where you're in like this cyberpunkish, not like the game, but like the aesthetic, futuristic city, and there's like these kind of like F-Zero Extreme G Wipeout like cars like racing behind the band as they're like doing stuff, and you're like following the cars and it's like spinning the camera, and it's they did a really cool job. They did an interesting thing with like holograms where I don't know if they were mapping them in real time or they were just that well choreographed, but the first song, which was appropriately enough Larger Than Life at the Sphere, it looked like they were doing basically real-time video of the 5 band members, interspersing them throughout the Sphere's imagery, and then cutting out the background. Complete, like kind of like how Game Chat on the Switch 2 can like kind of subpar, like remove your background automatically, or how a lot of webcams can do it. Like they were doing that at like a super, I think at like a super high fidelity, big scale. So like they were dancing and doing their stuff on stage, and you could watch like their cutouts in real time doing exactly the same thing on an asteroid or on this little like Stargate looking ring over here, this our next thing. And it was just a very cool use of the technology. And at the very end, slight spoiler if anyone's going to see it, they float. I couldn't tell you how, but the stage lifts up about halfway up the venue, and they're on this like floating sci-fi looking spaceship looking flat platform, and they do like 2 songs on it. And obviously there's strings that are holding it somehow, and you could sort of see the strings coming off the stage. I couldn't tell you where the strings go. Because again, the sphere is one.
In sync. There's
What?
no strings attached to the others.
Yeah, too. That wasn't in sync, right? But like you said, but no, I couldn't tell you where the strings go because like it's one giant screen, right? And I guess you could run a string between the pixels or something, but like that would mean that these strings that were holding up the stage had to go the entire height of the dome and into a ceiling. And you can't see him disappear into the ceiling. You can't see him against the screen. Like you see him on the stage. And then I couldn't tell you where the strings went or where the pulley system was or anything. It was very impressive. I don't know how it was like a magic trick. But yeah, so that was the experience. It was really cool. If you ever get a chance to go to Sphere, it really doesn't matter what artist. Obviously, if there's one you know the songs of and like the vibe of, do that. But like the venue itself, one of the people with us wasn't a big, like he knew the songs because his daughters listened to it growing up, but he never, like, he's like a pop punk, like punk rock, not even pop punk. He's like hardcore punk rock guy. He says it's really cool, like an amazing show. So, yeah, it's one of those venues that they're going to start imitating it around the world. There's already one here in LA that's a smaller scale and not quite as round called Cosm that they use for like sports broadcasts and movies, not concerts. But like this technology is super cool and it creates quite a unique experience. So I definitely encourage checking it out. And I'm not even doing justice to like describing how the visuals are. Like the way they can make it look like bright daylight in there, and then suddenly you're in the darkness of space. The way they did cool stuff with like they shot lasers towards the screen and then did animations on the screen that looked like etchings, so it really looked like the lasers were burning stuff into the screen. Like it's just like a cool combo of effects. There's just so many little things they did that were super cool. So yeah, if you ever get the chance, go to the Sphere. I encourage it. They get ready to pay a lot because it's very premium of a venue, so they charge appropriately, unfortunately.
Definitely excited to give it a try, but for the time being, maybe if I'm lucky, there's a quote-unquote Sphere experience, or I'm sure something exists
Cosm.
in VR. I mean, we have the VR too.
Oh, no.
Something.
I mean, I've used VR. This is there's something way cooler about this. I mean, obviously VR simulated, but it's not, there's something about it's not just you, it's 18,000 of you all together experiencing. So if they do something like
that feels like that diminishes the experience.
No, because trust me, it's
no, I'm just kidding.
An example.
No,
actually,
I know. Yeah.
No, just say a quick example. At one point, they just turned. So we were facing one set of stars or planets or whatever, and they just spun us sideways slowly. But it really felt like we were on a physical thing that was rotating to the right. Just the way that they moved the screen, like just because the screen takes up all your field of vision, and you just see like all these other people around you, and then kind of like this cliff edge that just becomes the screen, and it's like turned us like a different direction. And it's very minor, and it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it really felt like we were on some sort of slow moving dark ride that was pivoting 90 degrees all through just the screen. It's really cool. I know that sounds like the most minor thing, but I think, kind of exemplifies like just how realistic that screen can be.
Well, we won't know until we see it for ourselves. Will this be as awesome as Jason makes it sound, or another one of Jason gets excited too easily?
Well, I will say everyone that was there said
you
it
do
was
get
awesome.
excited the right amount.
I do get excited pretty easily. It's true. I am way more of a positive person. Like negative things I don't like, I'll just kind of take at face value and move on. And things I really like, I'll hype up. But I don't really have like a dislike bucket. Like there's very few things I'm like that sucked. At least I'm like, well, it was fine. But this was very cool. Yeah.
This randomly did come up, and I should just throw the question to both of you. When was the last time you saw a movie in theater that you actually did not like?
Well, that's what I'm
saying. I feel
saying.
like Kevin will have an answer. But that's like, do you remember the last one that you saw, Jason?
That
you
I
were like,
really disliked?
I did it. Well, I doubt there is one that you really disliked, but maybe just one that you just felt very mad about. I feel like that would be like as low as you would go. Like you were like, yeah, that was fine, or you just genuinely are that good at picking what you watch that at the bare minimum, everything is hunky dory.
Everything, I wouldn't say hunky dory, but I just absorb things, and then as I absorb it, if it sticks in some way, so to speak, then I know I like it. If it just kind of passes through, then it like I'm a sponge, right? So if the I don't know how to describe it. If the bacteria in the liquid passing through me sticks around, and I remember, and I feel that's a bad analogy. Point is, if it just passes through me, it just passes through me. If it sticks with me, I like it, but I don't think there's anything I've actively like hated or strongly disliked or had strong like I'm the yin to Kevin's yang in a way, and Kevin's the yang to my yin, like in the sense of like I'm usually like, yeah, this is awesome, and I don't necessarily have like negatives as much. And I know Kevin is good at, even when we were talking about you switching to Android just now, you're good at pointing out what you didn't like, and then everything else you're like, yeah, it's fine. Like we're kind of like the like the opposite of each other in that regard. Not that it's a bad thing at all, but yeah, that's the best way I can sum it up for me, at least.
So no, damn.
Not that I can think of, but I will keep dwelling while Kevin shares
Yeah,
his
okay.
example.
I think the last movie that I came out of, and I went with Kevin Montenegro, one of our friends. We actually both walked out of this movie going like, man, that movie sucked. Was the second, or I guess the third, Godzilla movie, King of the Monsters?
Empire, New Empire.
No, King of the
The
Monsters.
one before
Would that
they
be the
brought
third
in
one?
King Kong.
Wouldn't that
The
be
one
second
prior
then?
to King Kong.
Yeah, but
joining
like if
the
you count the
party.
'98 movie, which I don't know why you would, but yeah,
No,
I
different.
remember walking out of that one and being like, man, that movie was bad. And if anything, that movie was bad because of the human character elements. But the monsters obviously were like cool, but
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to. Even when we saw Craven, like we went and saw Craven in a movie theater, and we walked down. Right, I was like, that wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Like I can dwell on stuff and find things I dislike within it if I want
yeah,
to.
that
but I don't
one's weird because that one I wouldn't say it's a good movie, but it was entertaining.
Yeah,
which
or
I guess
or like I
at
think
a bare
about.
minimum is something.
I think about when we watched Madam Web, like when we did our random Nintendo watch party of Madam Web, when we did Transformers the last night. Like objectively, those had bad things in them, and we made fun of them.
Yeah, I
during the
wouldn't say
podcast.
that's a good
But
movie either,
watching
Yeah,
but
that
them
movie
together
was
made it
something.
good.
that
Like, fun.
that movie is bad. We had a good
No, but
time.
made it fun.
No,
That's what
but
I'm
we
saying.
had a good
Yeah.
time. But
Yeah,
that
that's what I'm
didn't.
saying.
But that didn't make the movie good. is what
No,
I'm
but made the
saying.
experience good. Yeah, and that's
Yeah, but
why
that's
I
not
have
the
trouble
we're not talking
separating-
about the experience.
No, I know,
No,
but
no,
I
we're
think
talking about
that's
the
why I
movie.
have trouble separating. For me, is like the experience and the quality of the product are somewhat in my head interlinked, even though they shouldn't be. Like I just absorb it on. If I had a good experience, I'll be like, great, even if the thing itself was not of good quality. Which is
I remember definitely, and I know
me.
my siblings were also feeling the same way. We definitely didn't feel that way about, or we felt that way about The Good Dinosaur. Like it just wasn't really a great experience, and the movie wasn't that great. Like I don't know, just everything about it was like the nicest thing we could say about it was that the environments looked great, but they just like contrasted so much with the design of the characters that it was like they were designed for a completely different movie. So I don't know. It's no secret by now that movie had a very tumultuous production. So it's kind of no surprise that it ended up the way it did. But they put it out there. We saw it. Maybe it's no surprise why they also released, I think it was Inside Out that same year, because clearly one was being sent out to die, and the other one was like the one they actually
had
put
faith
all
in.
their eggs in.
So my
I
dad
bet
rarely
you-
has
or- go ahead,
anything negative to say about movies. The only time I ever heard him say it was okay was when he took either I forgot who he took, but he took somebody to go see The Good Dinosaur, and it was the first time that my dad I've heard was like, yeah, it's fine for like kids, I guess, like because otherwise he'd be gushing about going to the theaters. But yeah, The Good Dinosaur, something finally broke in him.
I
Yeah.
do wonder.
And it kind of hurts a little more because I think that was like one of the first like Pixar movies that we saw in theaters that was like, usually you expect at the very minimum like just a good movie, not like doesn't have to be like freaking blowing my mind or anything, but you just come out of it like, oh wow, that was good, but this one like wasn't even that.
I do. There's a part of me that kind of wants to go back. So after
Did
I
you watch The Good Dinosaur, Jason?
No, I've never actually seen it. I should see it to see what maybe this will be the first thing I dislike. But no, I am curious. If I go back, I bet you if I go back, and look at, because I like to post after I see a movie with some thought about the movie, right? And usually they're positive. I bet you if I go back, I can find a tweet where I don't necessarily bash a movie, but I probably just point out either a very minor thing, or I just make a joke. And I bet if I did that meant I
the
didn't
costumes
really
were amazing,
like
and
it.
that's your only thing.
Yeah,
about
like
it.
if I'm like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example, like Thor 4, let's say. I didn't actually tweet this or anything like this, but let's say like when Thor, what's the fourth one called? The one with the goats?
Love and Thunder.
Yeah, when Love and Thunder came out. Let's say I was like, that was the second Taika one, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's say it came out, and that one I was like okay about. Same with Quantumania. There's a good example of a movie that when I came out, I was like, this was just Tron.
Finally. There we go.
and I even tweeted, this was just Tron. Like I liked this story when it was Tron Legacy. But I bet you like for Love and Thunder or something like that, if I just tweeted like, they sure love their goats, that was probably me not liking the movie. But I didn't tweet that. But let's just get the Quantumania one was a better example that dawned on me. But,
Alright, so Jason can be displeased.
I can't, or like there's some shows that I'm like, oh, that's it. Like Secret War, Marvel's Secret War, when it ended, just kind of like, oh, okay.
Jason, I want you to give me a piece of media that you legit thought sucked.
That's the thing. I don't know if there is one.
It could be a Nintendo game.
Anything that you're
You
like,
could say
man,
you could
that
Mario
was-
Strikers open.
Come on, I need a
You could say
little.
Mario Tennis Supercharged
I'm thinking it's hard because I don't generally form a negative.
or Ultra Smash. My bad.
Wait, what? What did you say?
No, I was saying, like you could say Mario Tennis Ultra Smash sucked or whatever it's called.
It wasn't the best. But well, okay. See, look at you go. It was Ultra Smash. What the
That game
amount
was
of
like
content?
as long as a demo.
That's what I'm saying.
It
Ultra
was
The
Smash,
amount
like
of
the
Yes, it was the bare bones Wii U one. That
yeah,
got
the Wii
rushed
U
out.
one that like had
So-
no. And
so here's the
way
thing.
that you could say it wasn't the best.
Here's the thing.
Wow.
Thing. Again, I can't just not like something. The core mechanic was fine. There just wasn't any meat on the bone. So like I played it at E3 that year.
It was
That
barely
my
a bone.
That was one of my. It was barely a bone. It was a small child's bone that had yet to have a growth spurt. But
That was one of the first like Nintendo published games that I did not buy because it was just like it just felt like really dirty.
I
Like,
had a good experience with it at E3 where I won like 5 matches on the demo back to back against
and the funny
strangers.
and the funny
So
thing is, you
now I
probably
have that
played all
warm
the game had to offer at that point.
I did, but I have this warm memory of that. You know what? Okay, Star Fox Zero controls did not work as well. Like at the time, I was like, okay, all right, we're digging in. I'm opening wounds here. Okay, Star Fox Zero. I tried to buy into the whole dual control thing with the cockpit. No. Mario Kart Wii. I tried to do the Wii wheel controls. No. Smash Bros. Brawl. I tried to do the Wiimote nunchuck controls. No. There's a period of time where I was like, Nintendo's telling me to play a game this way. I will play it this way. And I don't think I actually enjoyed it. Like, I think I was Stockholm syndromed into it. And I came to that realization. Angel, you and I talked about this. I don't remember if it was on a podcast or not, but we were talking about, I think it was you and me, maybe it was someone else, but talking about like ways we like to hold a controller. And I kept saying to you, I like having the normal controller in my hands. Like I tried to do the whole split controller thing that Nintendo wanted me to do. And I think I associate the like playing with two Joy-Con separate or Wiimote and nunchuck separate with being strong-armed by myself, I guess, in into playing games that weren't made for that control scheme using that type of controller. So that's something that in hindsight, at the time I was trying to buy into it, but Mario Kart Wii is my least played Mario Kart. I think it's because I was trying to do motion controls. Brawl, I don't know if you remember how much I was a stickler in college for using Wiimote nunchuck until one day I saw the light and just used the GameCube controller again. Like it
Yeah, for both of those games, I think I always used just GameCube or classic.
and I
Controller
think
Pro.
that interfered with my overall experience, and I have these negative feelings about those controls and about using controllers in that format.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
like, I was Stockholm syndromed, and then I broke free, and now it's like a weird PTSD. So there you go.
Damn, the
There you go. And those are
tea has
big
been
ones. Those aren't like
spilled.
Mario. Those aren't like Mario Tennis Ultra Smash. Those are like the top, some of the top selling, top played Wii and Wii games.
Yeah, not good enough for me. But I'm probably not gonna get anything more. So, oh well.
It's
I'll
a
think about it
breakthrough.
and get
Like
back
this
to
is
you.
only this is only like we finally like broke the ground.
Wow,
Now,
he
maybe
didn't like
next
the
time
controls.
Hey,
I
it's
will.
a start.
I like
It's
to
a
think,
start.
and I'm
Then
curious
we're gonna
if
be able to go deeper and deeper next, and before you know it, he's gonna be going
No,
like
actually,
on a big old
it's-
rant.
it's-
We're
about-
gonna be. This
it's
show is gonna
fine.
be evolving.
You
It's
don't-
random. It's not gonna be random Nintendo. It's gonna be like my therapy sessions. The tone of the show is gonna switch from like this loud, like "Oh my god, guys," to like, "So Jason, how did
Revelation.
that make you feel?"
Jason hated
Yeah.
season 2.
Jason,
of
have
Severance.
a lay down on this couch here, and please.
No, it's fine. You don't want to be jaded.
Those
as I
controls
am,
must have
so.
been those controls must have been difficult for you, Jason. Please tell us more. That's what this is going to turn into. Yeah, no, I am generally I will say, and I hope listeners agree, and I hope you guys agree. When I do talk about a game or a system or whatever, I do try and do pros and cons. But overall, I am generally usually enthusiastic about those things. Like with the Switch, when we were giving our impressions of the Switch too.
That's fair.
Like,
I mean,
I was giving
I
some
like to
pros and
think
cons.
that,
The game chat camera is not great. That sort of thing. But like, I just try and keep it somewhat balanced
I mean,
or benefit
everyone
of the
here,
doubt
I-
or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
I would say everyone here is like overall like pretty critical. Like it's not like
Oh yeah.
I mean, can be critical. Like constructive criticism. Like like
Yeah.
I feel like if we say we don't like it, we usually give a why, and if it's something that's just very like subjective, then it's just we say it's just not our taste. Like it's
Yeah.
I feel like we're pretty good about giving that kind of stuff, and not just like a blanket like I don't like this, and everyone that likes it.
No,
likes
I
it.
think we all have nuance in what we're saying. Yeah.
Except for
It's
Snyder
interesting we
fans.
come. I mean, there are exceptions to every rule, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, we all have nuance in our perspectives. But yeah, I definitely think we come at it from slightly different angles, all three of us, which are informed by our experiences and whatnot. So that's what makes our show a show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, since
And-
we
Yeah.
I guess I guess did you have anything else to add?
No, I was gonna say, but now that we've explained how we can be nuanced, should we try and be nuanced and with some other stuff on the?
Yeah, I was gonna say I guess before I pivot us into movies we've been watching, I'm just gonna very quickly just talk about Anime Expo because I did
Oh yeah.
Go again
I forgot
this
you were
year.
there.
That's right.
as I've gone every year since I think like 2011 was the first year. Yeah, pretty much like since I graduated from college. My brother had already been going, and he still goes even for at least a day, but he has been going less and less. But it's kind of funny because I stopped going to Comic-Con and he started going to Anime Expo. I guess less and less, but he's also just been
You guys
working.
flipped.
But it works out. To be fair, like I think I've used to be fair at least 3 times in this episode already. Well, anyway, to be fair, their Anime Expo isn't a super huge convention too. Like if you just want a surface level like experience, that you can see everything in a day. And for Obus's purposes, like he knows what he likes. He can zip through the hall, get the whole like experience from it, and be happy with it. And then we hung out in the evening and we went to the entertainment hall, saw some games. It was fun. But overall though, much better than they've been improving a lot. Yeah, there was a fire.
I was about to bring that up.
on the
I
very
was about to bring that up.
on the first on the first day of the convention. It was caught, I think, like an hour before they actually would have let people in.
Correct me if
So,
I'm
all it
wrong. It ended up just being a heating duct or an air conditioning duct that had some ventilation issues, right? Or something. Like it
Yeah,
wasn't a
it
true
was-
fire, right?
No, nothing was like set ablaze or anything. It was something. Well, maybe something smaller was, but we did see a lot of like, fire trucks and ambulances zipping up and down. What street was it? Alameda? No, maybe
Figueroa.
Figueroa. I forget.
Figueroa.
Might be Figueroa, yeah. And but they contained it, and at least on that first day, we didn't actually start moving until like maybe 30 to 40 minutes after we normally would have, and then we were inside. And I guess like just for reference, the friends and I that I go with, we've at least for the past 3-4 years now that I've gone with them, and just because I just like to do things early, we're usually out the door by like 6 a.m. And then by leaving at that time, we basically get to pick our parking spot in the convention center because we park there. So I just picked like, the spot closest to the exit doors so that when you are leaving, you go to the door from the inside of South Hall in the convention center, and the car is right there, which is always nice, especially if I want to drop something off, which I did have to do at one point. And, we just chill in the line. At 8, they let people in. We go to the cafe. We have a coffee. We chat. And then maybe, after, 15, 20 minutes after they would open the exhibit hall, we just casually walk in. And we've never really had to deal with any crowds. This year, they seem to have done a better job of opening up more spaces so that places just become less congested. There was a side-by-side picture of the second day, I believe, of the convention from last year and this year. And last year, it was basically that lobby area in South Hall where the main entertainment hall is, and it just looked like an ocean of people, zero space between them. But this year it looked significantly more empty.
If I may interrupt,
apparently it was still sold out. Oh yeah,
Kevin, you asked for an experience I disliked.
I asked for something that you saw, played, heard that sucked.
Well, can I talk about the line at Amex? But one of the years I went, it took 4.5 hours to get in, and I only had a single day ticket, so I only had 4 hours for the entire show floor.
Yeah,
to Angel's point, I was able to breeze through it, but the line was a mile and a half long.
Very different time.
Not exaggerating. I mapped it. Mile and a half.
Freeway,
we went under a freeway.
Pretty horribly run. Yeah.
It was bad. It was my second year going. It was bad.
Yeah,
so
this was
if there's an experience,
right.
So if I could say that sucked, that would count in my mind.
Nope.
Okay. Anyway, back to you, Angel.
Yeah, so that was when Eventbrite used to run the convention, or at least the purchasing and all of that, the badge management. But they've since been fired, or it did change. Now it's
sunsetted.
Now it's done by
yes.
Yeah,
take it behind the barn,
I believe. And so far it's been pretty streamlined. I mean, the show is always nice. Just walk around. Usually, I pick out a few ads for animes that, I'll just make a note of to watch later. Typically, don't really go with I'm gonna buy this thing and that other thing. It just kind of just whatever pops up. And what did I buy? Oh yeah, so I learned that I guess Godzilla is just gonna have its own TCG, and I was like, oh, that's neat. Maybe I'll just get the structure decks whenever they come out. And Bandai or whoever is making the card game, they had a booth, and they're like, oh, we actually have the whole first wave available now, and if you get 3 booster boxes of 12 packs each, we'll give you the special promo card. And I'm like, sure, give me all of it. And $200 later, we have all the Godzilla cards available. It's probably just going to be something I play with Elvis and not worry about the meta. I don't see this card game surviving for more than a year or two.
Yeah, I mean,
because
props them for trying, I guess.
The concept is interesting. You basically have a kaiju that you play, and it's supposed to essentially walk its way from I guess spot 1 all the way to spot 7, and whoever's kaiju gets to spot 7 first basically wins. It's you're basically trying to stop a kaiju stampede, or just a they're just trampling through the city. And you can attack your opposing kaiju. If you get hit 4 times, you lose. Basically, if your kaiju gets knocked out 4 times, then you just lose the game. So you can either win by making it to the end or knocking out your opponent. They also kind of shot themselves in the leg by making all the card art literally just screenshots from various movies.
Oh, this is not built to last. There's no chance. No chance this is going to be a permanent thing.
So, yeah. On one hand, some of them are neat because, there's some nice screens from the movies. But, it's never going to compare to,
original art.
Actual art made for the game where you can make it more dynamic and, fit the flavor text instead of, just repurposing it. And they have these mechanic called rage cards, and those are all just movie posters. So you already know they can only be so many, and if they make more, they're gonna have to use variants of posters, I guess. So
again, not maybe built to the plan last. There will not be more.
Yeah, so
maybe
the plan. Yeah, maybe the plan isn't for it to last. They just want to kind of go through all the movies, which that's perfectly fine. I don't want to get into another card game that's gonna last forever, which is probably what like made me be more inclined to go all in, because I was confident that I wasn't gonna have to worry about like super longevity like Lorcana, which it seems fine. They're definitely slowing down a little, but they seem like they'll still be fine. They'll make it to their 2026 Pixar year. But yeah, the other thing I bought was I don't know if either of you are familiar with R.J. Palmer, maybe artist that I think he was a consultant for like the Detective Pikachu movie.
Oh,
Usually
the
get
guy that did the
something from
concept.
him.
Yes, I do. The guy that did the concept art.
Yes.
Yes.
The realistic Pokemon
yes,
stuff.
and he had a booth one of the years I went in the basement. Yeah.
Yeah, so like we saw him there. I always like his stuff. He makes really cool pins. He's like a big Godzilla, Monster Hunter, Pokemon fan, so he'll like mix and match the art, and he's able to like draw it on model really well. Like I think last year I got Pokemon cards. It was basically Godzilla monsters in the style of Pokemon and Monster Hunter monsters in the style of Pokemon, each with their own evolutions and whatnot. And this year I just bought like some playmats. I bought a lot of playmats from them, as well as a really cool like Ace of Diamonds print, because there was literally no Ace of Diamonds, which is the baseball anime that I really love. But the one that was there was super amazing. So definitely glad I did that. And probably the thing that I was most excited about that I got was I commissioned an artist for that works for Capcom and Udon to draw me a Ken Masters from Street Fighter doing an objection as Miles Edgeworth, because that same artist I had commissioned 7 years ago to draw me Ryu doing an objection, dressed as Phoenix Wright. And he blew them both away. Like that was like I just gave him that simple direction, just like Ryu with dressed as Phoenix, and he made them super dynamic, super awesome. He remembered the drawing. He said he was really excited to work on it, and he even like messaged me like at 10 p.m. like, oh, I finished it, because he said he just couldn't stop drawing it. And yeah, they go really well together. He made sure to draw it so that they are both pointing at each other. 7 years to finish that set. Maybe next time I'll look for him and get something else. But yeah, besides that, they had a very nice big area that they called like AX Crossing. I think they called it Shibuya Crossing last year, but you could get drinks there. There was some curry pizza that was really, really good. It was also very small, so you could just kind of gobble it up quickly. I feel like it wouldn't fill either of you guys up, but it was really good. It was just very nice. The dough was just really, really good. That really stood out. And some Wagyu pizza. But yeah, came and went. It was a very awesome 4 days. Sad that it's gone. I mean, we're already over a week out of it, so. But I guess in 2 weeks I'll be going to Japan, so I guess there'll be another vacation like that soon. But yeah, that was Anime Expo. I mean, what did you guys do for the 4th of July? It's always on the 4th of July for whatever reason. I don't know what they have against it, but because of that, I haven't celebrated 4th of July in over a decade.
Because what better way to celebrate America than Japan? What did I do 4th of July? Nothing eventful. A family barbecue, maybe, I think. Nothing super eventful.
Yeah, same. We just had a small barbecue at the pad.
Nice. All right, well then, in that case, let's jump to movie then. Speaking of fireworks, I imagine there are some at F1.
Oh, we're starting
events?
with F1? All right, sure.
Oh, there are fireworks in F1.
There are fireworks in F1. Did you also see F1, Kevin? Or did you
No,
just know
but
there are fireworks?
I saw the GIF. The who's it? Not Benicio del Toro. No, it is Benicio del Toro, isn't it?
No, it's Javier Bardem.
Javier Bardem. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw.
Who
I saw
also
the,
surprisingly great improv on
Dave
Conan's
Bautista.
travel show. Javier Bardem.
Diego Luna.
But yeah, no. So F1. You guys saw Top Gun Maverick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I like
Same
that
director.
movie.
So imagine instead of planes, it's cars. That's F1.
So someone comes out of retirement to go to
No,
a
quite
son's-
literally, someone comes out. Wait, keep going, Angel. Someone comes out of retirement.
Yes,
Check. Next.
Yeah, so someone comes out of retirement.
Yes.
For one last, I guess, race.
Kind of.
And I guess he meets up with, I guess, like an old friend who isn't racing anymore, but I guess
Correct.
Like,
that
goes
is
to their
Javier Bardem.
son.
You're good. Keep going.
and I guess like he has to take like the son of probably someone from
Not
the past, like,
quite.
under their wing,
But the
and
a
they
younger
end up becoming
a younger,
they become
more
the
brash
F1.
team member on the race team that the old friend that no longer races owns. He has to sort of take under his wing, yeah. So a business son, if you will, yeah.
and you end up getting kind of like a passing of the torch kind of deal. But
Yep.
and
Yep. And then there's some really cool shots from inside the flying and or driving machine. Right, and some technical jumbo, and then there's a scene where
they do
like
did they
they're
do a
not
Star Wars?
volleyballing,
That
but they're
was a
doing some
very
sort of
big thing about-
extracurricular activity. In this case, a poker match. Yeah, it's all there. It's all there. Follows the same beats.
Even the Star Wars, that was a big thing of Top Gun Maverick.
The Star Wars.
Like the whole mission was literally them doing a Star Wars.
Oh,
They had
I
to,
mean,
like,
they didn't. They
shoot
didn't. No,
a-
there was no Death Star equivalent. No. This was like if Top Gun Maverick and the beats of Top Gun Maverick were through the filter of Ford versus Ferrari, except not Ford versus Ferrari, but F1 cars. But no, it's here's the thing. Joseph. What's his name? The director.
Gordon Levitt.
No, Joseph, not Kaczynski, because that's
Kaczynski.
Oh, it is Kaczynski. So he, who I've always had a soft spot for since he did Tron Legacy, which is like the greatest 2-hour Daft Punk music video you ever see. He
Twice that Tron's come up.
what?
Wait, what? Why else did Tron come up earlier?
I don't remember. I said in passing, but there's a new Tron this fall,
movie
so I
reminded
have
you
to
of it,
I have to
but,
plant the seed in everyone's head to go see it. So the franchise has like wilt on the vine for 12 years, like it just did up till this point. But anyway, yeah. So he has a formula, and that formula is 80s style, like
Oh, Thor. Oh, sorry, that's it.
oh yeah, it was Thor, but 80s style sports or action movie with a big Hollywood lead and kind of follows the beats of a redemption story for a retired person and bringing someone new in, like that kind of 80s vibe. F1, just like Maverick, does it well. And what was interesting with F1 is because it's shot entirely in IMAX. It's like that 80s vibe, but wrapped in modern technology. And it was just a really cool experience. Like, you know the beats of the story. I mean, Angel, you literally went through the whole plot right now with us. But it's fun. It's a fun popcorn flick. Like, I really enjoyed it. And there's some modernization to the formula. You know, like, instead of the needle drops being all like random 80s songs, it's all contemporary licensed tracks that they had artists record just for this. And they have a companion album, which I will openly admit actually has some pretty good songs on it. And yeah, like the whole thing just felt like kind of those old Hollywood blockbusters that aren't a superhero movie or aren't an established IP. And established IP, they're just kind of a story. And I guess you could argue F1 is the IP here. But yeah, they just did a good job. Like, I walked away pretty impressed, and seeing IMAX was really cool. Kaczynski does have a good eye for like really cool shots, you know, in the air with Maverick. You're on the ground. There's stuff where you're like in the car. There's some shots where they like spin the camera around the car. There's one shot where it's all first person and it's just the road in front of you, but because it's an IMAX, it's on a big screen. Like, it's really, and the sound mixing's really good and the sound design's really good with the bass and the rumble and the engines. Like, it's just I don't know, it's just like an old school like summer blockbuster that somehow exists in the era of things having to be tied to a major franchise. So I didn't have a lot to say about it. I just want to kind of throw it out there. It's like, it's a pretty cool experience. If you can see it in IMAX, I don't know if it still is. I think Jurassic Park replaced it, but if you can find it in IMAX somewhere, it's a cool showcase of IMAX too. So I'd say check it out. It's not gonna, you know, blow your mind in the sense of plot twists or anything, but it's fun. Like, I was going into it, and the way Apple was promoting it so heavily, because Apple produced the film and this was their first attempt at a blockbuster movie, I was kind of like, I don't know, it feels like they're really pushing this movie. But then coming out of it, I'm like, all right, I get it, it's good. So that's all really I had to say. I just wanted to throw a shot.
So you're
out
really
to it.
going to be looking at Apple, and the next time they say they're producing a movie.
Yeah, I mean, they produce like Oscar-winning stuff. They've done a Martin Scorsese film, but like this was their first attempt at like a big Hollywood blockbuster, and it, you know, has all the trappings. Like, they have all the brand tie-ins. They have, like I said, they made a soundtrack of original music where they hired a bunch of big name artists. You know, Doja Cat, Don Toliver, like Ed Sheeran, Dom Dolla, like all these different genres. These are all real names that all happen to start with D. But no, like Dom Dollar's a huge DJ, and Doja Cat is Doja Cat, and Ed Sheeran's Ed Sheeran, and Don Toliver is a Travis Scott associate.
Are you saying that like for us, like I should know who these are? Ed Sheeran's the only one I recognize.
Doja Cat's one of the biggest
Redhead?
female pop rap, I don't know what to call her, acts in the last few years. So I thought you might know it. And the point is, they they did the soundtrack where they got all these artists to hop on it. They had the brand deals. They have the marketing. It just felt like a very all, I don't know what the marketing terms, but all encompassing one of those movies where it's just it's gonna be a thing. It actually happened to be a fun movie too. So it was So I thought, don't let any cynicism about being Apple or about all the marketing shenanigans around it fool you. It is actually a fun, very Top Gun like movie. So that's all I wanted to say about F1. Really
Wow.
pleasantly surprised.
Okay. Well, guess
Oh,
it's
we have another movie.
Yeah, guess let's just talk about the other movie real quick. So did you actually end up watching it at 10 p.m.?
10:30. Thank you very much. Yeah. So last night, context here. Last
Wow.
night, Angel was like, "Oh, I want to talk about Superman tomorrow," and I'm like, "Oh, I was gonna see it later in the week." And then Kevin, you made it sound like you also already saw it. So I was like, guys, am I about to go see it? So I drove home from Vegas
No one is
yesterday.
making you do anything.
No, but I wanted to talk. I gotta be at that water cooler for that conversation. But yeah, drove home from Vegas yesterday, bought a ticket, walked to the movie theater, got home from the movie at 1:30 a.m. on a work/school night. But yeah, so I have seen it. That being Superman.
Damn. Well, wait. So you saw it then, right, Kevin?
Yeah, it's hot.
Okay. Why don't you take the lead on this one? We've had enough Angel and Jason for the last two.
I'm sorry, repeat that?
Why
What
don't
did you
take the
think
lead
of
on
it,
this
Kevin?
one?
Oh, I thought it. Sorry, I have something else in my ear. I thought it was great. I thought it was a solid. I thought it was a solid 8 out of 10 movie, 7 out of 10 in that range.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite portrayal of Superman. Now that being said, I've only seen the original Christopher Reeve Superman movie way back when, so I don't remember.
You never
how his
saw Man of
performance was.
Steel, Mr. Snyder hater? You never saw Man of Steel?
No, as in portrayal wise, Christopher Reeve, obviously, Henry Cavill,
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Brandon Routh. So I've only seen that one, but I know Christopher Reeve did 4 movies or 3 of the original 4.
I think
or
3.
something like that.
4.
Yeah,
I think
don't-
3 before I got paralyzed. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've been thinking of Supergirl as the fourth one.
and then the TV
Same.
variations of Superman. I never saw Smallville or
Same.
Superman and
Did you
Lois.
watch?
Same.
Did you ever watch a Superman the animated series?
Yeah. I'm
No, it's
talking
animated,
just
so-
live action portrayals.
Yeah.
It's probably my favorite one.
And this what's his name ranks as your favorite? Is that what you're saying?
David Corenswet or Corenswet?
thank you.
Yeah, he's
I
definitely
couldn't
my
remember
favorite.
his last name. Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely my favorite portrayal of the of Superman. I thought
He has an
Nicholas Hoult
earnestness to him.
killed
Yeah.
it. Nicholas Holt's probably my favorite part of the movie. The
Oh,
movie
yeah.
goes a lot of places real fast.
It's jam packed.
Yeah, but yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree. Overall, I went in with no expectations. I just with the same James Gunn directed it. I've enjoyed all his other films. I'll probably just enjoy this one. But yeah, I really really liked it as well. Definitely just like Superman a lot as a character. Honestly, one of my favorite scenes was the interview with him and Lois.
Yes,
that was just,
that was arguably
a fun
my
little
favorite
back and
in the whole
forth.
movie. I don't know, something about it really did a good job of kind of just giving him a set. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I have a thought when you're done. Yes.
I don't know. Yeah, but then also just I also just really enjoyed the spectacle of it, the the special effects in the river and that hole and blah blah blah. And
Oh,
It
did we
was-
say spoiler?
Oh yeah, spoiler. Well, who
Spoiler.
knows what?
I think
river?
I think that's vague enough that I could get away with it. But yeah, enjoyed all of it. It actually got a few sensible chuckles out of my brother and I. Mainly he saved the squirrel. That was really nice. The
Huge spoiler.
only thing. Oh yeah, it's a huge
It's-
one.
it's really
The only thing that and this is we're getting into super nitpicky territory because I would definitely say this is definitely one of my favorite superhero movies at this point.
Damn.
I say from that first
Interesting.
impression.
Okay.
At least live action ones. I don't know if I like it more. No, I definitely don't like it more than the Spider Verse ones. But it's up there. I just enjoyed it. I just had a lot of fun with it. I remember the last time I just had a lot of fun with a movie, in theaters like this. But yeah, Crypto. It just never sit right with me. Like it was really hard for me not to see him as like an animated dog. He just always felt like an animated dog, and he never felt like a dog that was actually there, even when he was supposed to be just like sitting down on, laying on Clark or just like chilling.
The
I
only
mean,
point where he felt animated to me is, without spoiling anything, chasing the squirrels or whatever that was. You know what I'm talking about? That's where he felt
yeah,
animated. There's a point where he sits on, not a spoiler, he sits on Lois's lap at one point. And I was like, wait, did they sub in a real dog? Like, this looks real. Like, it really messed with me for a split second. Yeah.
like I mean, visually, like, textures and all that, like, those seem fine for the most part. But I don't know why. I mean, and maybe I don't know if it's because of how much like I've studied animation or just like stuff like that I look for or that I don't necessarily look for. But like his movements, like the way he just moved, just never
Felt
like
right.
it never sold me. Like the way he would like kind of turn around, like so many things about the way he moved just felt too smooth and just didn't remind me of like the way like I've seen like dogs move. Like it didn't felt jerky and predictable. It felt like I felt like to me it felt like someone was animating him, which like when you animate something, like the whole goal is to make it feel like like you're not supposed to notice, and it was just something that was kind of in the back of my head. And usually like I try to just like kind of like see it and ignore it, but like I just kind of couldn't not think about it whenever he was on screen. Like even the way like his tail wagged. But I don't know, maybe I have to watch it again. Or maybe because I watched it in IMAX 3D, which was really, really awesome. Like so many shots of like you flying through the air with, Superman, and those were so, so cool in 3D. But yeah.
There's a
You were
couple
saying?
things you said that I think highlight what I thought was cool about the movie. Those shots, the camera work throughout the movie. It was there. The camera was like in constant motion, except for the quieter parts, and it was kind. I thought it was really cool because it was kind of like, it kind of mirrored, like, I don't know if this is the right way to put it, but the way that the camera's kind of swinging around and moving around and spinning around and da-da-da, it kind of felt kind of like, oh, well, Superman could go any which way at any moment, and you're kind of right there with him. Even if he's not in the shot, like, the camera could just kind of, you're going to swing over this person, I guess, swing around that person. I was just like, oh, it's a really cool, like, it had like a frenetic, the whole movie had like a frenetic vibe to it, where it's just like this, like, palpable, just like rapid fire energy of just go, go, go. And one thing you mentioned the interview scene, I thought, or yeah, like where it was just Lois and Clark. I thought that was a cool way. The movie in general just drops you in. There's not really much backstory. They give you like a couple sentences at the start of the movie, and then they're just like, go. And the whole movie just kind of like went, like, had that for next, just like, go. And everything was just going. And you kind of piece together what you need to know through some scenes like that interview, or through, bits of exposition, or through like another scene I thought was really good, not in the same way of plot progression, just for a moment about the characters. And also had a funny bit was where Superman was drinking the hot cocoa. That's all I'm gonna say. Those who know, and had like what was going on outside his window. Like they're just like little moments like that I thought were really well done. But the whole movie just had this kind of like rapid pace where it's like, you're gonna know what you need to know to appreciate what's happening. We don't need to tell you the backstory of the Justice Gang. Just here they are. They interact with Superman. The interaction's what matters, which is what James Gunn's always good at, is those kind of group dynamics. Here's Lex Luthor. Here's his interaction and why it matters. And it's just kind of like go, go, go. Like, it actually reminded me, even a little in some of its kind of lightheartedness, of people are going to like kind of be like, what? Super Friends. A little. Now, Super Friends is very campy. It's from the 70s. It's very, Hanna-Barbera. But as a kid, I watched it all the time, and I posted something like this on my socials right before we started recording, so I don't know if you guys saw it, so maybe, but whatever. But yeah, like Super Friends, I used to watch all the time in reruns, and it was very like, they have a ton of different villains, a ton of different superheroes, and they didn't really give you much backstory. It's just like, here's the heroes and here are the villains that are intersecting or doing something in this episode, and you know what you need to know for that interaction to make sense. And done. Now on to the next episode with a different interaction that's happening. Maybe some of the same characters, maybe not. But you know what you need to know. You don't need to know the whole backstory. You just need to know, here's the Justice Gang, whatever. And it just kind of like goes. And something that I kind of liked about this is, unlike every other superhero reboot or start of a new universe or start of a new franchise or whatever, they didn't really like sit there and like set up. They just kind of went. And through that going, we did get like almost kind of like a bit of an, not exactly an origin, but kind of an origin of like how this particular Superman played by David, what's his name, like how he finds his footing to be comfortable and motivated to do what he wants to do. Like that's kind of one of the themes of the movie. So you kind of get a little origin of like why he is how he is, or why he thought he was, and why he is now how he is, or whatever. But they didn't like bog it down with, well, he's out on the farm and he's trying out his powers for the first time and all that. And it's fine that movies do that, but this felt a little different because it didn't do that. It kind of felt like he just plucked a comic book off a shelf, and it was whatever issue it was, and you don't really fully necessarily know all the ins and outs of how you got to this issue, but you're enjoying the issue and what it has to say, or in my case, the Super Friends episode and what was going on in it, and then it ends, and you're like, great, that was fun and fast and frenetic, and it's over now. So, like, I don't know, it was just something about it just felt so like just a slice of DC, but it felt like it was already established in some ways. You know what I mean? Like, it felt lived in. Like, that was nice about it to me.
I mean, it's kind of like in the same way, just looking at like Spider-Man Homecoming, like we didn't have to like completely retread the whole like Uncle Ben thing and all of that stuff. You just kind of go, and like there was some Spider-Man in the movie that came before Civil War, but
but even there, they just kind of dropped him in.
Yeah, I think with like the Spider-Verse movies, like they just kind of go. Although to be fair, they do the let's do this one more time origin stories like so many times in those movies, but I mean, that gets a kind of a joke, but they also do that.
Right.
Or even James Gunn, another movie, like, in Guardians, we do get like a very brief origin scene, but it's more of just like an emotional setup than anything, because when they, time skip, like he's already a full grown and already doing his like Star-Lord thing that you don't have to go, like you said, him learning how to shoot, him learning like where did he get his skills of being like a Ravager. He's just already doing it.
Although even that, I would say, like with Guardians or even somewhat Spider-Verse or like there was still an element of like, this is clearly the first. Like if you told me that James Gunn's Superman was the third
there was
movie
the
in
gathering
the DC,
of the team and all that.
Yeah, if this was like the third Superman movie, I'd be like, yeah, of course it is. Clearly, like the way it just kind of drops you in and just go. Like it felt very much like a TV episode or a comic book. Like I kind of, it's kind of refreshing in that regard. Like it reminded me a lot when I was watching it of how I used to watch Super Friends. Where it's just like, okay, I guess this is I don't know what happened in the last episode. They're on reruns. They're out of order, but this is what's happening this episode. I know who these people are. I can kind of piece it together. And the show, or the movie in this case, does a good job of like explaining why it's piecing together in this way with this dynamic right now in this moment. And that's all I guess I need. And it's fine. And I'm enjoying it. So it had that vibe.
Like the no need to world build, I thought was great. The fact, because this world has already been built, like, people are treating like the people in Metropolis are treating kaiju like it's just like another regular Wednesday, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that's what I really, really love, because like, oh, they know that Superman's here, so they'll take care of it. Don't worry. Except, I mean, spoiler alert: at the beginning of the movie, the movie literally tells you that, oh, this is the first fight that Superman has lost in the 3 years that he is Superman. But I just like that this world definitely feels lived in. Like, spoiler alert, I mean, this was in the trailers, I guess, so if you saw the trailers, it's not really a spoiler, but if you avoid them, like people do avoid trailers, there's gonna be a spoiler. But like the fact that I forget who the guy that runs the Daily Planet.
The actor's name is Wendell Pierce.
Yeah, Perry White.
Perry,
Casually, Perry White just casually walking into like Mr. Terrific spaceship like it's nothing. It's like, this is just like this is just another event in their lives. Like I really found that really, really fun. The fact that this is such a crazy world already, which is what I'm really excited about the DCU, like moving forward.
And I'll admit, especially when that scene happened, or where they're all like, all right, up to the ship, and they all just go for a split second, because I've been so trained by like how these movies normally work. I was like, that's not very realistic. And then I was like, wait a minute, but this whole thing is like, there's an absurdity. It's grounded in some ways, but totally absurd in others. And you just kind of roll with it. And that's because the universe is already there and they're used to it. Then it made sense. For that millisecond though, I was just like, why? How do they know? And I'm like, oh, of course they know. That's just how we're dropping in on them. It makes sense. So
remember, the controls are very intuitive.
Yeah. But yeah, to let go of that, like having to find, like, it also makes it really easy for the movie to just have fun with stuff because you don't need to think about plot holes as much. Because it's like, well, you don't know what happened in those 3 years he's been there. The movie basically takes a lot of pressure off itself right at the top by being like, it's been 3 years. Stuff happened. Here's what we want to tell you about, though, starting now. You know?
Did you like notice the fact that they skipped over 3 months in the beginning? Because 3 months ago, they started dating.
Oh, yeah.
I thought
Yeah,
that was
that's
neat.
true. Yeah, everything was in threes as well, which I don't think has any significance, but I
Yeah,
appreciate
I
the
don't
repetition.
think, I
of
don't
it.
either,
Yeah.
but so
Yeah,
it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. There's some stuff that, like, some levels of it that worked a little better than others. Like, it wasn't a total slam dunk for me. Like, some of this, because there's so much credit in there, it was just like, oh, well, that didn't work.
The
Well, this
second
didn't work.
act didn't work for me that well.
Yeah, it wasn't as strong as it could be, but I did like the third act. I did like the implication / the mix and match of two different characters that became what that was in the third act. That's all I'll say. And where that can go as well, based on the little bits I know from Super Friends, of what that could turn into next. The Hall of Justice, they did cool thing. Again, I'm looking at this through the lens of Super Friends because that's what I watched as a kid all the time. The building for Hall of Justice, which I think is in the trailer, so not a spoiler. They went to the actual building that the cartoon modeled its building after. So James Gunn, like, it's the Cleveland Transit Authority or something like that, like a train station or something. And when they drew the show in the 70s, they modeled the Hall of Justice after that building randomly. And James Gunn's like, well, if we're going to use the building, we're going to use the building. And they went and shot in front of that building for that shot. So I thought that was a nice touch. Again, from the very specific lens of Super Friend watcher that I was as a kid. But yeah.
Nice.
And it went on to be the Hall of Justice and everything in DC, but it started in Super Friends. That look for the building, I mean. So, yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
fun movie right around. Sounds like we all had a good time with it.
Indeed.
I guess we have one more movie thing apparently
We
that
do.
has a lot of red and yellow tape. Apparently there's even apparently there's Nintendo news.
So there
wasn't
kind
aware
of is. Yeah, we always, I always try and put some Nintendo in every episode. We have What's New Switch 2.
You really don't have
but,
to,
but I want to. I need to. I haven't shaken the Stockholm Syndrome. And no, what I was going to say is it's interesting because we do talk. I've noticed more and more we're talking about movies on the show here. And I'm realizing that in due time, that's going to intersect with our Nintendo talk because there's going to be a lot of Nintendo movies. So we already know about the Mario movie. We know about the Mario movie. Obviously, it's already out. The Mario movie sequel, the Zelda movie, which is now coming out May instead of March of 2027. But Nintendo had their big general shareholder briefing and Q&A session where their president, Furukawa, went on record saying, "We are working on various other projects," his words. And then a few days after, which of course they are. Mario made $1.3 billion, not a shock. But then a few days after that, a leak happened from the copyright people. And apparently, Nintendo Studios LLC and Universal Pictures on June 6th were approved for a joint filing of Untitled Donkey Kong Project. This is what's called a short form license, apparently, which is apparently a thing that studios make early in a film development process when it's a collaboration between multiple studios, like Nintendo and Universal in this case. And the execution date, so to speak, of when this all started was May 9th to May 27th, meaning they just finalized the plans for the Donkey Kong movie, or at least the copywriting part of the plans, like a month and a half ago. But as maybe a lot of people suspected, it seems like we're getting a Donkey Kong spinoff. And I want to bring up for two reasons. One, there's an irony here. Universal, as you guys may recall, in the late 80s, obviously they're close with Nintendo now, but they sued Nintendo over Donkey Kong's name being too similar and potentially an infringement on King Kong, which is a Universal property. They lost the lawsuit. But it's funny that now, 40 years later, not only are they running a Donkey Kong theme park for Nintendo, but now they are also producing a Donkey Kong movie after failing to stop Donkey Kong from existing. So if you can't beat them, join them, I guess. But the other reason I brought it
It's
up,
the only con that's bringing in the money right now. So
yeah.
well, actually no.
Well,
I
that's
take that
not
back.
true. No, that's not true.
The
Yeah.
legendary. Yeah, I forgot about legendary God King Kong.
Yeah.
I guess it's a very different King Kong.
Very different. But yeah, but the other thing I thought was interesting, so I was thinking about the Donkey Kong movie, and well, obviously, Seth Rogen will probably be Donkey Kong again and all that. But then I realized, do you guys remember in like early in the development of the Mario movie, after it was announced, there were those rumors going around that the Mario movie might be a musical, and we were all kind of like, oh God. Oh no! And the rumor was like Miyamoto really wants to make it a musical, and
about Kevin Hart singing and all that.
yeah, we were worried that Kevin Hart would be like our dream casting of a Dreamcast space casting, not Dreamcast Sega, of Kevin Hart as Toad singing. Yeah. Actually, I would be okay with that though, because Toad singing Chandelier, if you haven't watched it on YouTube, is one of my all-time favorite videos. I don't know how they make it or who did it, but someone's just like Toad is going like it's great. But anyway, I also choked doing that. Those rumors didn't pan out about the Mario musical. We got Peaches, so I guess there's a music song, and we got a lot of needle drops in the Mario movie. But you know what franchise has an undercurrent of music that almost feels perfect if they were going to make a musical movie out of? Donkey Kong. Right? Like, am I crazy that I think it's going to be a musical?
They do have the show that notoriously had 2 songs for every single episode.
All original. Yes, the Donkey Kong Country TV show, also known as
one
Legend
of which,
the Crystal
and
Coconut.
I quote, one of which had lyrics, and I quote, "I'll shower you with coconut cream pie," as Donkey Kong sings it to Candy Kong.
No, that cannot be our episode title. Don't even suggest it.
Fine.
I don't think that would get past this. Apple will not be a fan. But yes, that was a real lyric in a real show. But no, seriously, like Donkey Kong has this undercurrent of music for like ever that I feel like if there would be a musical, like the stars kind of align. I mean, the DK rap in Donkey Kong 64, right? Like they actually, for the Donkey Kong Bonanza commercial that came out a couple weeks ago, they still are using the DK rap. There is a chant throughout the commercial, DK, in the exact, like from the rap in the whole commercial. It's like all these people like watching someone play and they're like DK in that exact cadence. So there's that. There's, the musical elements in Bonanza right now. There were these interviews recently with the developers of Donkey Kong Bonanza, who, by the way, are confirmed to be the Mario Odyssey team, as we all suspected. The director of Mario Odyssey, a guy named Kenta Motakura, is the producer on Bonanza. And then the director...
Yeah, DNA like all over it.
What was that? Yeah, totally. And then, but interestingly, the director for Bonanza is actually a new hire for Nintendo. He joined in 2020. He previously worked at Sega and Square Enix. Most interestingly, he worked on Final Fantasy 15? XV? That'd be 15. No, yeah, 15. Right? Is that 15? XV? Roman numerals? Yeah. But anyway, in an interview, these two were talking about how they chose Pauline because they wanted to turn the Bonanza transformations. They had various songs various music that they made for transformations, and they thought they should be actual songs. And if you've been following the game, the music is a big part of why Pauline's in it, because she's now singing the songs with lyrics and the theme song, and in 2-player mode, she like shouts out written music as attacks. Then you also got the fact that Donkey Kong had Jungle Beat on the GameCube, which was drum bass. He had Donkey Konga, which was drum bass. Like there is a very long history of music in Donkey Kong, and Seth Rogen, maybe not well, but can sing. I can't judge because I haven't actually watched it, but he sings in The Lion King, the live quote unquote live action Lion King and its sequel. So they already have a voice actor who could sing. Like, I feel like this movie's going to be a musical. Oh, and on top of that, Illumination Studios made Sing and Sing 2, which are musical animated movies. So they already have this in their wheelhouse. So again, and they're actually not bad. Both those movies are actually pretty good. They even got Bono from U2 to be in Sing 2. Like, they're actually not bad movies.
Them?
So I'm just saying, the stars are aligning here for Untitled Donkey Kong Project to be a musical. I have seen both, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the stars are aligning, in my mind, that the Donkey Kong movie could very well be a musical. And I wouldn't say no. The same way they cast comedians in like the Mario movie, they had like Charlie Day and Jack Black and Fred Armisen, and they could do something similar with casting like singers who can. I mean, like, not to use this example because it doesn't bode. It's not going to happen. But the Smurf movie that's about to come out. The entire marketing around that movie is effectively got Rihanna to be Smurfette, and she recorded some new songs for it. I don't think it's that crazy to say, well, if the Mario movie was comedians, what if they did like actor, singer, rapper, voiceover people for the movie there, for the Donkey Kong movie, you know? So I'm just putting it out there. I'm not manifesting it per se, but maybe a little. But I'm just saying, I think this movie is a musical. And I will die on this hill up until I'm proven wrong. So would you watch that? Would you want a Donkey Kong musical?
I mean,
Let me ask you a different
just
question.
think- if you
Would
picture-
it
you
need
want it or
original
not, you're
music?
going to watch it regardless.
yeah,
Would it
yeah, like
need-
yeah, like so.
Yeah.
Think I watch it regardless. I mean, if you just ask me that, like, would you prefer the Donkey Kong movie be a musical? I would say no.
Mm-hmm.
But I would still be like, it could be good. I would have hope that they can make it good, but outright, like, just a straight up musical, nah.
So the second
You can have
part
a
of
musical
this,
number here and there, but
yeah, the second part of this that needs to go into consideration before asking that question. I realize is it original music or is it covers and like needle drop style stuff? Because I mean, the Mario movie dabbled in those needle drops a lot. Like they just randomly shoved licensed music in there. So I know we at the time all thought it wasn't necessary and would prefer the original score by Brian. What's his name? Brian Tyler Green, whatever his name is. But the precedent's there. And those Sing movies I mentioned from Illumination are all covers of existing music. So then the question becomes, kind of like how Trolls does it too, are we going to get, if it's a Donkey Kong musical, are they going to be matching real pop songs to the themes of the movie? Like then it gets, like it's not as simple as being, I now realize it's not as simple as just asking, would you watch a movie where they sing? It's more like, well, are they singing like the DK rap or like whatever, the Pauline's theme song from Bonanza, or are they singing like finding a way to make, I don't know, Don't You Worry Child by Swedish House Mafia makes sense in a Donkey Kong universe. You know, like that's
if they
where
do go that
where it
route,
might get weird.
hope-
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, if they do go that route, hopefully they have a good plan because I feel like there are more ways to mess that up than not.
Yeah. I mean, I could be wrong, or maybe the musical numbers will be limited to just 2 or 3 at most, but I feel like there's a musicality to Donkey Kong that Nintendo keeps banging the drum of, no pun intended. Even the theme park,
Yeah.
the one mini game.
I mean,
is
I
a
could
bongo
totally see
drum
them
game.
doing, like-
it's a thing. Yeah.
I mean, they'll do what they did in the Mario movie. They'll do like the first like 5 seconds of DK rap and that's it. It's not even do the rest. That's that.
Nah, they'll DK Rap's even in Bonanza, I think. DK Rap has such an interesting trajectory of like like it's really been embraced by Nintendo. Like I feel like the next one they need to embrace. Do you remember the Mario Sunshine commercial where they had the little like clean is better than dirty and dirty's meaner than clean? And it was like an intentionally overly kiddie song with like very happy go lucky people dancing in the commercial, and everyone, because it was 2002, were like, oh, it's so kiddie, Nintendo's so kiddie, and Nintendo pulled the ad because it wasn't being received well. I feel like that's the next one that needs a redemption arc after the DK Rap.
Still lives in my head rent free, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so Donkey Kong's one that's confirmed. I have another theory while I'm theorizing about Nintendo movies. They say they have various other projects, not just one. I kind of feel like Pikmin could be next as well. They keep marketing it at a higher like scale, shall we say, than something like Splatoon or Animal Crossing. Like there's a lot, like Nintendo is putting a lot of emphasis on Pikmin. And they don't really have they have
Splatoon is
Pikmin
also
Bloom, but
another
they don't really
one
have like
that-
that many big blockbuster games for Pikmin. They're not releasing an update that we're aware of for Pikmin 4. There's no Pikmin 5 yet. But they have Pikmin hidden in all the various Mario ads they have around. They have Pikmin hidden at the theme parks. They have Pikmin hidden at the stores. I drove past a billboard on Sunset the other week, on Sunset Boulevard here in LA. The billboard is 3 Pikmin sprouts and the Nintendo logo. Doesn't say Pikmin on it. Doesn't show the Pikmin's faces. It's 3 planted Pikmin and a Nintendo logo, and that's it. You don't see anything like that for any other Nintendo franchise except Mario. Like exposure wise, I feel like they're queuing up Pikmin to maybe be like the third biggest IP, just in terms of how much Nintendo's like putting it out in the world or like placing it, you know? I mean, there is Pikmin Bloom. It's not a huge success, but it has made like, I looked this up actually. It made like $62 million as of last November. That's based on some third-party trackers, not Nintendo. Nintendo doesn't reveal these numbers themselves. But it's like one of the only mobile apps Nintendo makes that they're still actually like actively supporting, and or co-supporting with Niantic, and there must be a reason for that. Like, why is Pikmin getting all this love? I'm wearing a Pikmin shirt right now. I love Pikmin, but why? Why is it Pikmin everywhere? Like, is there a move? Are they setting it up to be another movie franchise or a show or something? Like, I could see it like going around like a whimsical adventure movie or so, you know, maybe like in the vein of like a Wall-E or a Wild Robot or like a Flow or what have you. You know, one of those movies where it's like kind of you're in this place you don't know and you're kind of learning the ropes of the world, except you're learning it through the Pikmin and Olimar and Louie's perspective or something. Like we've gotten a sense that they could pull that off with the Pikmin shorts they did a number of years ago. They're doing even shorter little like 10-second videos to promote Pikmin Bloom right now. They're posting like one a day on the Pikmin Bloom YouTube. Like there is something brewing with Pikmin. There's music with Donkey Kong and there's mysteriousness with Pikmin, and I feel like that means something at some point. So I just wanted to throw those theories out there while we were talking movies. One other thing, what's new with Switch 2 that I wanted to mention, that came out of that shareholder Q&A. There was this other tidbit about it. To me, it was something that like it kind of intertwines with what's going on with the game industry at large. The cost of making games. And this quote from Furukawa came out like a week after what happened with Microsoft. And by the way, do we want to touch on what happened with Microsoft? Because that was kind of nuts.
I'd kind of rather not.
Up to you.
Sad situation.
What was that? It is. But yeah,
I know
in
more we
a
can say aside from it sucks.
Yeah, in a very brief nutshell, for those who are aware, huge layoffs at Microsoft that led to multiple studios closing, multiple games canceled that have been in the works for years, including Perfect Dark and Everwild from Rare. And it was a really sad situation all around. And there's a part of me that, like, as that was happening, and as other studios have done the same, there was a part of me that was kind of wondering if, like, Nintendo and its developers have a bit of, like, I'll call it an upper hand, because it's not like they're like, oh, we're down, you know, but they have an advantage maybe that the likes of Microsoft, maybe even Sony, don't have, which is Nintendo. Their whole pie is gaming, but like for Microsoft and Sony, gaming is a piece of a bigger pie, right? Because they're technology companies ultimately. As in, Microsoft's top level execs and investors are going to look at a balance sheet and compare Xbox to, say, their Azure cloud subscriptions or the Copilot AI stuff they're doing, and they're going to go, whoa. Xbox is losing money and Azure isn't. You got to do something to bring Xbox up to those cloud and AI numbers. And I'm sure Sony, you know, similarly is comparing its video games to its movies, to its tech, to its, I don't know, car collab with Honda, whatever that one was called, the Afeela or whatever. So everything these gaming divisions do is looked at under this intense, like, comparative microscope. And every game has to be a big blockbuster and a guaranteed hit because, well, how does your division generate the same returns as the cloud division? Like, one of the finance guys is, of course, going to ask what the point of running a dedicated physical office in Santa Monica for however many years to make Perfect Dark is if you don't have an immediate guarantee of any sort of ROI. Or, like, they're going to say, yeah, we should close the one-off Japanese studio that made Hi-Fi Rush because that game didn't churn out as high of a return as we hope. Like, it's super callous. It's super unfair to developers and them making their art. But, like, when you're looking at, when you're a dude who's looking at it compared to, like, the cloud subscription revenue, that's kind of where the fracturing occurs. That's where this all happens. But with Nintendo, what I think is kind of interesting is all they've got going on are the games. Like, they talk about all these IP expanding initiatives, you know, even in the Q&A they bring it back up, and those are going to generate a lot of money, you know, multiple theme parks, Mario movie that made $1.3 billion, like I was saying. But all of those rely on the same sole business of creating games as starting points for their IPs. So you're not comparing the movie division versus the gaming division. You're just looking at, like, what you can do with the breadth of your game lineup. And that in turn, I think maybe opens them up to being able to still make games at varying scales of effort, because it's about fostering an IP, not pressure from unrelated divisions forcing you to like crank out a diamond every time. Like, think of how long it took Animal Crossing to become like a top tier franchise. And the patience of letting it gestate, that got them to New Horizons being a huge, insane hit. Sold Switches, kept the Switch alive. Like, that was obviously there's some outside factors as well, but a slow and steady grind got them there versus just flying out the gate with only the biggest quadruple A title they can. And this all brings me back to the Q&A, where, again, their president, Toru Furukawa, he said something I thought sounded very promising about Nintendo game development. He said that their perspective is, and I'm just going to read it, we also believe that it's possible to develop game software with shorter development periods that still offer consumers a sense of novelty. We see this as a potential solution to the concern around rising development costs and software prices, and we will explore it from various angles within the company. And to me, that's exciting because it sounds like at bare minimum we're going to see variety like we saw on Switch 1, in the sense of, for every massive Zelda Tears of the Kingdom we saw, we also got smaller stuff like a WarioWare, or the smaller scale top-down Echoes of Wisdom Zelda. Or if you go back a generation where it gets real interesting, my hope is that it translates, for every Smash on the 3DS and Splatoon on the Wii U, we had like weird little eShop titles like Rusty's Real Deal Baseball or Pushmo, which became its own mini franchise ultimately. So we'll see how far they go with the thought here, but the understanding that Nintendo's outwardly saying that not every game needs to be the biggest, boldest, top-selling quadruple A title known to man, I feel like that's good. Like, that seems like a good thing for originality, for experimentation, for bite-sized projects that comprise some of the like wacky Nintendo I've loved in past eras. So I'm hopeful. I thought, I mainly we got on this topic because I was talking about the movies, but then as I was reading through the Q&A, I was like, yeah, this might be worth mentioning because like it's promising for giving us more variety on the Switch too. And we're seeing a little bit like Dragon Drive is a smaller project. It's only $20. It's a tech demo that they decided to package up as a game, but so who knows if that's gonna be like the exactly how it's gonna be going forward. But it does sound promising that we're gonna get like a good breadth of stuff on Switch. And it's not to say Nintendo isn't also expanding to accommodate bigger projects. One thing I should also mention they brought up in this presentation is they are building a new building at their Japanese headquarters, Development Center Building Number 2, to bring additional development and research teams on board. And already, there are a lot of games that are bigger and taking longer. I think we talked before, Mario Kart World started as a Switch 1 game way back after Mario Kart 8 came out. It turned out in those Bonanza interviews last week, turns out Bonanza also started as a Switch 1 game until they realized the Switch 1 couldn't handle the voxels of all the destruction. So those take longer. Think about how long like the Zelda games take, or how long Metroid Prime 4 has been in development. So it's not like Nintendo can sidestep this issue entirely, but it seems like they at least have some recognition that there are multiple tiers of game you can release, which is, I feel like, a far cry from where most of the industry seems to have their heads at. So that's promising as a Nintendo-only gamer, or a Nintendo platform-only gamer, that we're still going to get like big and small in a steady cadence, possibly based on what Furukawa is saying. And we might get the first taste of all pretty soon. Rumors are there's going to be a direct in July from a very reliable source named Nate the Hate, who has predicted a lot of them. He says it's coming in July, so we might know sooner rather than later how this is going to start shaping up. But I just thought that was a promising thing to hear Nintendo say in light of the rest of the industry's turmoil at the moment. So I wanted to shout it out, or call it out, or whatever you want to say for this episode. But yeah, that's all I had. I don't know if you guys had thoughts on that, or concerns, or broader thoughts, or whatever about the industry, but I just wanted to throw that in there.
No,
Not
you
really.
covered it pretty well and detailed.
Yes, maybe too detailed, one could argue.
One could, but I
One
won't.
could.
Because like I said, you did a good job.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for
Thank you.
keeping me in the loop. Without you, and I mean, yeah, after I definitely felt the big drop in like just Nintendo awareness when I stopped going to Go Nintendo. I don't know if they're even still around or if they do.
They're
their thing.
still around, yes. But this is what I'm here for, to fill those gaps.
Yes. Speaking of filling gaps, we have, last but not least, one more topic. A Go Meets live service Paluzamic?
What?
Paluzamic?
I don't know, whatever we call this thing. Kevin's Gotcha Corner from Hell.
Oh! Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Gomi's Live Service Corner or yeah,
Microtransaction
I guess I wasn't sure.
Shack or whatever.
Microtransaction.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be Palooza, but I think Mike was thrown in at the end for some reason.
Oh, maybe I meant to type microtransaction somewhere on there.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, Gomi's Live Service, microtransaction, mobile stuff.
Yeah.
Palooza.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Live service games, the podcast games of Gomi's life. So I started a new gotcha game. Does anybody want to take a guess at what it is? Has anybody heard any rumblings about the recent gotcha games out?
No, actually.
I don't think I've heard of anything new. I mean, I know Zenless Zone.
Zenless Zone Zero.
Something is it? Thing?
Well, that's been around for a while. They sponsored a
Yeah.
Comic-Con party I went to 2 years ago.
Honkai Star Rail?
Honkai Star Rail, that's also been out for a while too. Yep, those are our. Both of those
Is
are
there
by
a
the
solo leveling has a gotcha game now, right?
I think that there's but the two recent
Yeah,
ones.
that one's also been around for.
And I'll let you guess which one I'm playing. There's two gotcha games that are making waves right now. The first one is called Uma Musume Pretty Derby. Okay.
Oh, the horse one.
The horse one. Okay. So you
completely forgot about
all right,
that
Jason. The horse one. What do you think the horse gotcha entails?
Is it like Pocket Card Jockey where you're racing horses, or are you raising horses?
You're doing both, except the horses are reincarnated, legendary Japanese horses reincarnated into the bodies of high school girls.
Of course. I mean, that's where my mind immediately went.
They just look straight up like high school girls, except they have like the horse tail and ears. But they
You
just
know what?
sprint around
I have
the
seen
track,
this in
like-
passing
like
and didn't
they're-
even stop to wonder what it was because it was like, oh, anime game. Okay. But apparently
this
it's
is
the
too
new
normal.
hotness.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I say apparently it's the new hotness now.
It's one of the two hotness. I'm gonna let you guys guess which one I'm playing. The other one is basically Persona 5 in gotcha mode. Which one do you guys think I'm playing?
Well, clearly the high school horse girls, because, I mean, you love Persona, but how can you say no to high school horse girls?
Yeah, that'd be my guess too.
I threw you for a loop. I am absolutely playing the Persona 5 gotcha. Although I have thought about
Gasp.
I have thought about playing Uma Musume.
I am a little surprised. I feel like you would have at least dabbled in it already. If
I have not
you don't
yet.
plan to in the future.
I haven't yet, and I'll get to
okay.
why once I go through my Persona 5 spiel. So Persona 5 has been turned into a gotcha game called Persona 5X. It's essentially a sort of like alternate story, an alternate Persona 5 story. Pretty much everything about this game is just Persona 5, but worse, obviously by design, with the exception of the presentation, because this game just straight up rips pretty much every single asset from Persona 5, from the music to the graphics to pretty much everything.
Who
And
developed it? Is it in-house, or did they basically pass the assets to some other...
it's co-developed by P5 team, or I'm gonna guess like a smaller team from P team. Sorry, it's P team, Persona team, like probably like a smaller like section of it. But it was developed by this developer called Blackwing Studio, which is a Chinese company. So this game actually launched in China, I think 2 years ago, and like finally we got the worldwide release. Yeah, this is just bad Persona 5. Pretty much everything that revolves around the core mechanics of Persona 5, right? The day-to-day stuff, you're going to school, you're hanging out with friends, you're partaking in activities, right? That half, and the other half of the dungeon crawling, the leveling of personas, the finding new personas. Everything, this being a gacha game, everything is now gated behind energy or stamina, right? So you have essentially 200 stamina each day to do dungeons, to grind for personas, and then you also have ability points, which that is what will take place of like, oh, you need some money to work your part-time job after school. Oh, well, that's going to take one ability point, and that is the ability points is actually more limited because you only have 20 of those granted to do any activity, it only takes 1 point. But they recharge really slowly, as opposed to the energy, the 200. Oh, I'm sorry, you have 240 actually energy. That pretty much refills after 24 hours. But yeah, this being a gacha game, literally every aspect of your characters, you have to grind. And I mean everything. Like, with the exception of the main character who actually like levels up with battles, your team members don't. You have to essentially level them up with level up items, which are like few and far in between. Like I said, you can grind for them. Obviously, they're going to entice you with a season pass so that you can get more of those with the premium route as opposed to the free route. Weapons you have to level up individually. Skills you have to level up individually. And yeah, this is just Persona 5, but worse in pretty much every single aspect. And
how many hours have you put into it?
I have just completed the first like story dungeon, which according to Steam, is about 17 hours.
Oh, that's interesting. It's a gacha game on the same platform that runs the regular game?
Correct. It also runs on mobile.
I assumed this would just be mobile only.
No, it also runs on mobile.
You can get it
like,
in the same place as the main game.
Which is interesting because, just throw Persona 5 on mobile. Like, that.
Yeah.
Just go that route.
How much money have you spent so far?
That's the thing. I haven't spent a single dollar on this game.
Oh, okay.
The reason is because I went back to Genshin Impact this past week. Now, here's my dilemma. Do I devote my time to Genshin Impact, back into Genshin Impact, which I have probably put in maybe about $1,000 or $2,000 in already? Now, granted, I haven't played in over 2 years. Or do I put my focus back into Persona 5 X?
And where do high school horse girls fit into this question?
Well, that's the problem, right? I'm going to have to drop one of these if I want to play the high school girl game. Or do I say screw it and just play all three?
I think you know the answer is the latter.
Yeah, stop.
I'm not helping you here.
All right, listeners.
Next
Next episode, I'm going to have my impressions of Uma Musume Pretty Derby.
It's going to be crazy when we're at Comic-Con in a week or two and we're sharing a hotel room and I just hear horse noises coming out of your phone all night.
Now, this
But
is
I'm
something.
ready
Next
to
episode, I
accept
could
that
ask
fate.
you. So that game you're playing,
Persona
yay
5.
or nay?
Persona 5 X? Is that what you're talking about? Persona 5 X or Genshin?
Oh no!
He was
That's
talking about the
for
horse
the next
game
episode.
because he gave a
Oh.
great horse pun.
God damn
Angel,
it.
high five through the mic. That was excellent.
Yeah, I said for the next time, for the next episode, I could ask you about that horse game, yay or nay.
Yeah. Next episode, you can ask me yay or nay. Funny thing about Uma Musume, so it's like a franchise in Japan. It's pretty big over there. And Uma Musume just recently came over to the States around the same time that Persona 5 X actually came to the States. The anime has like Demon Slayer tier animation, Angel. It's insane. These girls are
hilarious.
running and the lines get like thick and bold and they're just like effects everywhere. It's like the final battle of the Entertainment District arc. And it's just two girls running. Well, two horse girls running.
Hilarious.
but-
Although it was it's even on the app itself, the race themselves, I thought it was just gonna be like a simulated 2D thing, but it's no, it's like a full CG rendered race.
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised.
Something about this makes me feel like it's like this generation Sailor Moon. I don't know what. Just something about
What?
No.
like the way that there's one crossing over beyond just the demographic it was maybe intended for originally. I don't know. Maybe not. I'll
No,
fade back
I
I
into
don't
the
sound like it's
background
hitting the
now.
demographic it's
Bye.
intended for.
Actually, this might be the demographic. Yeah, I take it back. I take that back. Never mind.
So that's my Gacha Life Service side of things. Marvel Snap.
Did not see that coming.
Marvel Snap is currently going through probably some of the worst PR that it's ever had.
Worse than when the
they-
game just turned off randomly with no promise of coming back.
Yeah, that was the least of their concern. So because of that happening, right back when ByteDance was forced to shut down, and
Mm-hmm.
and unfortunately Marvel Snap went down for about a day or two. I don't remember at this point. They decided to go. They are now self-publishing the game, or they got a new publisher to help them out. And with that, has seen some drastic changes to the economy, to the point where it's like, okay, you guys are definitely like, you guys might be overstepping here. Case in point, the monthly battle pass used to have a premium version, which came with like a variant of some card that was relevant to that season's theme, that you could only get with the premium pass, a couple of fancy borders, and I think like 10 or 20 extra levels to the battle pass. And I don't remember if it was $15 or $20. The regular battle pass being $10, but now they have put a brand new card behind the premium battle pass. So the theme of this season is Fantastic Four, and specifically 4 steps. Like the cards that are coming out, it's like Mr. Fantastic 4 steps, and the card vaguely resembles Pedro Pascal. And same thing with Invisible Woman, looking like Vanessa
So
Kirby.
sort of like they
so
did
are
for other
these-
tie-ins.
Because these are not just repaints, right? Because all those cards already exist. in
Correct,
the
they
game.
already exist. These are the first step editions, which, whatever. This is the first time where it's like, I think you asked me, Angel, like, is there a version of like Iron Man that's different from another version of Iron Man? This is the closest that it's ever gotten to that. Where, there's 2 versions of Invisible Woman now, but one is technically the first steps version, right?
Gotcha, but not quite like, because I know
But
in
not-
Yu-Gi-Oh!
not-
You have
not like
blue as
Lord
White Dragon,
Kana.
but then you have Blazing Blue as like White Dragon, where the other one is an effect monster.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have, like-
And still not to like Lorcana, where I have 2 cards that are exactly called Iron Man and nothing else, and they do completely different things.
Yeah.
But like I said, so this season, it's that they put a card behind the premium season pass called the Fantastic Car, which its ability is irrelevant. But there is a huge uproar, because not only that, but the season prior, there was a special event that once you could get sort of a perfect run for that event, and you still wouldn't have enough points to get the card that was being offered at the end of the event. You would actually had to put in money to subsidize a small chunk of getting that card. So players are incredibly pissed. I don't blame them. That being said, I probably am not going to get the premium battle pass. I've gotten it a couple of times because some of the variants were cool. But one, the card doesn't do anything for me. And also it's like $20. Now I'm starting to get to the point of like, yeah, I have put maybe a couple $100. No, not even a few $100 in this game. But I think my $10 purchase is more than enough to justify the amounts of time that I spent playing this game. For the record, I did not buy last season's battle pass, because like half the time I was in Europe, enjoying my vacation, and not only that, but the season pass card also kind of sucked. This season, I get vaguely looking Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic, so I'll probably get it. But yeah, Marvel Snap's having a really tough one. What else is there? Valorant. I got back into Valorant. They have a new map. It's pretty cool. Tomorrow, I'm going back into Destiny 2 because they have a brand new expansion that, in theory, from what I am being told online, allows an extremely lapsed player like myself to only worry about the brand new content that gets released tomorrow. Because I haven't played Destiny 2 since pre-pandemic. And there have been a lot of updates, a lot of changes that if I were to play today, I would probably need a few months to clear all that content. And what I'm being told is with the new expansion that arrives tomorrow, I won't have to worry about any of that. I can just play the new content and just be fine. So I'll give you guys updates on that in the next episode too.
I would very much like to know how that goes, because I would really like more games and services to have that approach if it works for Destiny. Because I feel like it's frustrating that you basically have to commit to a game for like years at a time, or else you just get left behind. So if Destiny does have a way to like soft reset like that, or loop you back in or whatever.
Is what I'm being told.
Like,
remember, that's what I'm being told.
I also like how you're framing that as if someone on the dev team's like personally reaching out to you, like, "Hey, just a heads up, Kevin." But yeah, no, I'm hopeful that there could be lessons here that other games can maybe learn from. And I've been live service games, just games with online modes that evolve over time, that don't have gotcha mechanics or anything. Like, it would just be very nice. So definitely let us know about that one.
Yeah, I'll let you know about that one. Pokemon.
Yeah.
I completely stopped playing.
Yeah, I fell off on that.
Pretty much as soon as I got this this new phone, I installed it. I have not logged into it, so I might just get rid of it.
GG's
Pokemon.
You called it. You called it, Kevin. You're like, once I got the Bidoof, like, you're gonna stop playing, and I kept going briefly, and then no Bidoof, no Jason.
Yeah, and to be
Because I have
fair,
all the Bidoofs.
to be fair to Pocket, I don't know if their events ever got any better because I just stopped playing the game altogether.
I get the impression they didn't, because I still follow their Twitter, and I get the impression they're doing a little better. Like, they're a little more uniquely themed. Like, they're doing an evolution one currently, but or just recently. But I don't think it's like they've significantly changed the mechanics of anything in that regard.
Yeah, in that
I don't
case,
think. I could be totally wrong. I may be speaking out of turn here, but I don't think they've changed it in a major way. No.
Yeah.
Shame for sure. Yeah.
I think that's going to do it for Kevin's Gotcha Corner of Microtransaction Alley.
We didn't make a jingle for
that. And in turn, that seems to be it for today's episode. So, Jason, clean up.
Clean up? Oh, hey, that's me. Okay, I'll clean up. If you enjoyed this mess, you can find it again on your favorite podcast app of choice, probably where you're listening to us right now. But we are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Pandora, YouTube, where you can find us at Ram Nintendo. That is also our Twitter handle, at Ram Nintendo. Or you can just go ramnintendo.com. There's one I never say, but it's there. You can do it. And all those places can show you our next episode as soon as it arrives. To make sure you don't miss anything happening with us individually, should you care to follow us, we are on the socials as well. I am JSR7 on Threads and Twitter. Kevin is KVN Gomi on Blue Sky and Twitter. And Angel is World of Weros with an S on the end over on the gram. Back to you, Angel.
All right. And Jason said a lot already, so let's just give him one more.
Wait, what?
All right, final word.
I wasn't prepared. I don't know. Donkey Kong the Musical. Let's make it happen.